All right, welcome to the 200th episode. We've made it this far. It's been a huge journey. I've learned so much over the last 2.5 years. Absolutely stoked to be here in Sri Lanka with 9 of us in total. We're about to start recording. So guest number 1 is going to be Brett O'Donnell. Then we're going to just cycle through everyone that's here, hear their perspectives, usual format, ask them about their life, their stuff, what they've got planned, segue a little bit, jump around a little bit, but we're going to have a bit of fun. There's dogs everywhere, there's animals, there's wildlife. It's an outdoor podcast, which is always exciting. So let's just get into it. We're into it, Brett.
Jeepers.
How good. Welcome, 200th episode. This is exciting. We've had you on the podcast before, Brett. We're not in the normal location, we're not in the studio, we're not even in Christchurch. We're in Sri Lanka. We're in a beachside-ish village, and we've been on the trip for the last 8-9 days now?
Yeah, final couple of days, Dave. Should be good.
Why don't we start off with how we've ended up here? When did the planning begin for this endeavour that we're on?
The planning for Sri Lanka, far out. I think if I think back probably a year ago, I was catching up with my mate Ben Sleeman, who had this amazing idea of just going absolute rogue in India. And he said, I just want to take a couple of t-shirts and a pair of shorts, and I just want to go from just go straight to India and just go and hang out with the locals, go and do some cool stuff. Sort of blend in, just go and switch off for a couple of weeks. And I really got inspired by that. I thought, that's fantastic. I said, let's organise something. So I guess we sort of did a bit of digging, and I think one of the things that really drove us to Sri Lanka was probably a couple of things. One was the feedback that we'd seen online about how it's such a friendly place. It's so different to India. And the second thing was around, as you know, the driver's licensing issue, where in India you need to sit a test to get a driver's license there in order to be able to drive a vehicle, in order to have insurance. Now, in Sri Lanka, the testing process doesn't exist. So what's needed is simply a form to be filled out, basically. And you have a driver's license, which means that you can drive. So hence the Sri Lanka, hence the tuk-tuk, and hence the sort of 12 months since, we've had a decent, the first chat about it. And then, here we are.
And here we are. So for those of you who have not heard of Rogue Heroes, there is, what's the website, mate?
rogueheroes.co.nz.
Yeah, so essentially a group of people that like doing stuff, adventures, spending time together, getting a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. It was, I'll give you an example. A lot of mates catch up for dinner, right? So we didn't want to just go, let's go out for dinner. Let's do a predictions dinner, which was, hiring a room at the Canterbury Club, and then giving every participant or every attendee something to talk about, something to predict over the next 12 months. When will the war in Ukraine finish? What will the price of Bitcoin be in November next year? And it adds a different dynamic to it. And so, it's not just about going away for a holiday. Not just about going to the beach or hanging out, with all due respect, and going to sit in dinner hour, read a book for a week. It's about doing something different. It's about doing something a little crazy. Driving a tuk-tuk for the last 8 days around Sri Lanka. Man, none of us knew how to drive tuk-tuks. Never even been in the front of one, before. And now we are, well, I consider, I think we're pretty good now. I think we've ironed out a few wrinkles.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's definitely fair to say.
A few close calls.
Yeah.
Maybe a few dead animals along the way.
Yeah, it's quite the experience. Is it everything that you thought it would have been going into it? I
liken this trip to sitting down and watching a movie that you know nothing about. And I mean, going to the video store and ordering something back in the old days and just go, I've never seen the shorts for it. It looks okay on the cover. Let's have a go. And just being led by it. And I think that's the most important thing, is that there's a lot of planning gone into this in terms of accommodation, but then there's a myriad of things that have gone wrong on this trip. And those things that have gone wrong on this trip have actually made the trip. If everything had gone right, if everything had been perfect, it would have been a great time. But it's actually the things that go wrong which, you need to step up, you need to have some resilience, you need to have some patience, and you need to be able to respond to those situations, and I think that's what helps you grow.
Yeah, it's a good metaphor for life, wouldn't you agree? If everything's smooth sailing and you're just doing things within your comfort zone, likely growth's not going to be as rapid or as noticeable as if you are going to
Yep.
encounter some of those obstacles.
100%.
Have we got any fun items on the Tuks?
Fun items on the
Fun
Tuks?
items, some things that stand out.
Yeah. We had I wanted to make the trip a little bit special, so I kind of created a couple of guidelines, or I guess a couple of rules. As you know, Dave, and one of those rules was everyone had a secret Santa, right? So everyone had to gift something to somebody. So the first gift was a little stuffed toy. It was a kiwi. We stuck that on the front of the tuk-tuks, and that was really nice. So the problem is that as you know, you get 9 blokes and some excitement and some tuk-tuks and a couple of beers, and all of a sudden a small stuffed kiwi becomes a 40-kilo statue that was gifted, right? So things escalated a lot, and they continue to escalate, which is fantastic. So look, the rule is that you must take it everywhere with you. You can't just accept a gift. I don't know if you've seen Top Gear Grand Tour. They do something similar, right? They'll just buy something outrageously ridiculous and just go, "Here's your gift." And shit, now I have to make it work, right? And so that's been fantastic. It just adds another element to it.
So good.
Got to get creative.
I love it. Yeah, there's been so many fun elements to this trip, and so many things that, as you say, I don't think anyone expected or knew what was coming around the corner. So, absolutely love it. What's the vision for Rogue Heroes for the next few months, year, couple of years? What do you see happening? What would you like to see happen?
I would. I really like the format now, which is basically that every few months we go and do something, right? And it may not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's the beauty of Rogue Heroes, is that there's such a wide network of people involved, and you don't have to like everything. You don't have to come along. We did the Scottish Golf Day, right? We raised money for the Caledonian Society. We dressed up in kilts and we played golf for the day, right? And that's fantastic. It's really great. If you don't want to play golf, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter. And the midwinter swim, we had raising money for the Gut Foundation. We had about 30 people come along to that. I mean, that was great. It was a good number. An email went out to 50 people, and 20 people decided to sleep in.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally fine. There's absolutely no pressure. And so what I want to do is just kind of continue to kind of come up with those sort of quirky concepts, quirky ideas. It's not going to the pub and getting pissed. It's not going out for dinner and just sitting around chatting. It's something else.
Yeah.
So I see that probably a major event, a major trip, probably every year, and then throwing around some other ideas as well.
Yeah, cool.
You and I talked about a marathon or a half marathon, right?
Totally.
Again, you get 50 people, and you send an email. So look, we're thinking in 6 months' time we're going to go to Queenstown and run the half. And someone said, "Well, I've always wanted to do that. I just couldn't be bothered organising it. Didn't know who else was doing it. Accommodation's going to be a bit of a stretch. I need some motivation." Well, you got 20 other people doing it. That's motivation. That's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. I think one of the unintended benefits of this trip has just been spending the time with the people that you might not have encountered in normal life, and that's really cool to bring people together and to, I guess, grow and learn about each other in a weird environment. I think there's something there, right?
Well, you're testing those relationships, I think, as well. So existing relationships are being tested, and then new ones are being formed, which is awesome. I mean, everybody on this trip is a fantastic human being in their own right. It's great.
Yeah. What else has happened since our last podcast? We did one last year, December-ish, I believe, on AI. Things have changed a bit. There's been growth. There's been expansion.
Yeah, look, the AI stuff is getting really exciting, probably on two fronts. So the first is that the developments that are occurring in the AI technology and the AI space is just phenomenal. Things are getting so much better, so much faster, so much easier to use, more applications. So we're really excited about that. There's some great new tools that we're rolling out now. For example, Pete. We've got an application which called HeyGen, which we've helped Pete implement into finesse painting, which is it gives him the ability and his team the ability to basically send out video messages to their team of painters. He's got a bunch of a group of guys from the Philippines, as English is not their first language. We're able to create on-demand videos now with Pete and his team's faces, and we're able to get them to speak Filipino to their staff. So that's updates, that's, hey guys, we've got a new paint that we're trialling, just a reminder of the health and safety policies. Those sorts of things are all delivered in about 30 seconds. You can create a video within 30 seconds, any length, and get that delivered out to the team. So there's some really powerful things, and those applications are really cheap. The second thing that's happening as well is that we're seeing a lot more adoption. There's a lot of organisations, particularly the ones in Christchurch, Dunedin, and a couple in Auckland that we're working with. There's more familiarity and more acceptance of AI. It's not just a fad, it's not just a thing that's disappearing. We're finding a lot of organisations really embracing it, which is great, and we are helping them on that journey. We're doing some training, we're helping them develop strategies, we're helping them to implement tools, and build platforms. And that could be traditional software coupled with AI. It's super important that we get that balance right. So we're doing a lot of work.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as we see the technology to continue to evolve and how it's going to provide different pathways to go down. I was just thinking of that example with the friend of ours, Nick, that was looking to have someone answer the phone, right? It's like, do we use a real human being or can we get AI to do this job? Like, you could almost argue it either way, right?
Well, I mean, look, at the moment, the AI is sufficient that, it can talk in any one of 190 different languages, as a great example. You can train your call center agent to have a different personality and different emotions. We're looking at implementing tools for something like land search and rescue, which have got a requirement to have a very concise and a very direct conversation with the land search and rescue member. And that is a really good example, right? We don't want to fluff around and be nice to the person on the phone. We have some questions. We need answers as soon as possible. Whereas for a customer service kind of AI agent, we might have a slightly different approach. It's someone who's very understanding. Maybe there's somebody who's dealing with a complaint, and we want to make sure that call goes well. So there is absolutely those abilities to train AI agents in different ways, and that's where there's an immense amount of flexibility, and it does challenge that traditional model.
Yeah, I like that. Love that. Having had Brad recently on the podcast as well, that was also interesting to get his take. I always quite like having different business partners on the podcast. That's quite cool. Yeah. And actually, it could be a first now that I think about it. I haven't actually had that before, so that's actually quite cool as well.
Great.
Two sides of the same coin, the yin and the yang. So that's really interesting.
Oh, look, it's really important. Brad and I teamed up last year, and I really like Brad. I think he's an incredibly smart person. He has an incredible understanding of the technology, and he's just a real visionary, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think we make a really good partnership.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going really well.
Yeah, I love it.
Enjoying it.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, super cool. What would you say to someone that's listening to this and like starting in their business journey or considering a partnership or just curious around how to get around the right people, whether it's in a format like Rogue Heroes or The Loft or just in general social circles, BC night, like this whole idea of community has really been top of mind for me lately?
Well, it's a really good point, actually. I think one of the things that helped me really early on when I started Web Tools 10, 11 years ago was Canterbury, or Christchurch NZ, or Canterbury Development Corporation, CDC as it was known, was sort of wrapped an advisory board around me. And so they got some people within the community who were business leaders that were able to share insights and advice in those early stages of Web Tools, and I think that was really important. Now, luckily for me, that was funded. I couldn't have afforded any of those people, and they were invaluable. So that was in place for an entire year, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I look back at that, and I think I wouldn't be in the same place if I didn't have those people, which is great. And I think you can still find that as a business owner, somebody starting out who wants to have some discussions and get some insights and just get a little bit of help along the way. And the Loft is a really good example. We've got organisations that are very mature. We've got some great people in the Loft who are really smart, happy to share some wisdom and advice, and I think that's really good. And then also with the Rogue Heroes, such a wide range of people. You look back at the predictions dinner, we had lawyers, we had a black cap, we had just all sorts of different people in that room, and it was great. I mean, we all shared a common excitement and lust for life and really enjoyed each other's company, which is really cool. Which is why that dinner came together really well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how you can take more traditional mentor type programs, those government-led ones, but then merge it with things like Rogue Heroes, with podcast content, long-form YouTube content, AI. Like, it's such a great time to have access to information and insight, and I guess I don't think anyone could ever. It's the best time, I think, to start something right now, or to grow.
Yeah, it is. And look, one of the bits of advice that I give is jump on ChatGPT. It's a really simple start. Jump on some YouTube. Just have a quick look around. Get an understanding of how it can work. I'm helping a guy at the moment who's thinking about starting his own digital marketing agency. He said, look, I want to do some Facebook ads. I think there's certain sectors, certain people within the community that don't do Facebook and online digital marketing very well. I want to spend some time with them, want to develop a strategy. I want to create some content for them. I want to post that online. I'm going to charge them $5,000 and I'm going to provide this service. And you sort of look at that model. That's a very traditional model. That digital marketing's probably been around in anger for the last 5 years. AI will absolutely challenge that, right? It will be able to automate that process a lot. You're not going to be sitting in a room for a week, developing digital marketing strategy. It'll be done in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You won't need to sit there creating content and ads. That'll be done in 3 seconds by AI. And we can coach it, we can train it, we can develop it to be able to do a lot of that. And so what we'll see is a real split in the market between the services that are offered by very high-end organisations. There will always be a need and an incredible market to have companies deliver services face-to-face, very high-value services. Let's go out for a lunch and we'll talk about your company and what you're doing with digital marketing. So there'll always be a place for that. And then there will be a big market at the bottom, which is the $99. You won't get to talk to anyone, but you'll get a really kick-ass marketing strategy as an example, and there'll be nothing in the middle. There'll be the $99 and there'll be the golf and the lunches. And you as a business owner get to choose where you want to sit. And I think that's what we're seeing is the great divergence of those offerings. It's the same with the lawyers and accountants. You'll get the $99, we'll get your tax return done, but don't expect to ring us and talk to us about anything. And you'll get the gold-plated, really nice, well, let's have a relationship and give you some good advice and bits and pieces. So that's...
Yeah. It's interesting from a pricing perspective and a market perspective how like that middle is a dangerous place to be, right? With a lot of things.
100%, yeah. So the advice that I'm sort of giving, people that are thinking about starting up in business is work out how AI can help you develop that business idea, because what AI is doing in a lot of industries is it's removing the barriers. If I said to you, let's say I wanted to start a digital marketing agency, I'm not creative. I can't. I mean, I know what looks nice. It's like music. I can't play music, but I listen to it and I go, that sounds good. I see creative and I go, that's amazing. Can't create it. Well, I don't need to be able to create it.
No.
Right? So AI can do that for me. I'm a bit shit at content. I mean, coming up with stuff, I can't really be bothered sitting down for 3 hours trying to write a blog post or whatever. Again, AI can do that for me. So all of those barriers are now being removed for me to then start that business.
Yes, yeah.
Now I've got a creative person. I can have a creative AI agent. I can have a content agent. I can have one that's monitoring analytics and it's fine tuning our approach. Again, I'm not good at that. So all of a sudden, I've got a team of people, a team of AI agents, which are now doing the entire job, and I'm just directing them, right? I'm out talking to clients, having those discussions.
Yeah.
And that allows me to launch a business much quicker. I don't need to pay $50,000 for a website and a logo anymore. You know, I'm jumping straight on, something like a Replit, and I'm giving it instructions, and I can have a website within 3 minutes.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's allowed a lot of barriers to be broken down, and
Yeah.
I think it's really good for people like myself that have distinct weaknesses, like we all do, but it's allowed me to make progress so much faster just because it can break down challenging tasks into bite-sized portions.
Yep.
and give you a strategy and a roadmap and a to-do list to move forward. Like the amount of sounding board I do on there just to be like, okay, I'm trying to achieve X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
How would you suggest moving forward in the next
Yeah.
few weeks,
Yep.
months? And then if it's too complicated, no, distill it down.
Exactly right.
Pretend like I'm an absolute dummy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so it's just the most practical tool.
Yeah, and you can jump in wherever you like. I'm reading Buy Back Your Time at the moment. It's the only book I bought on this holiday, Dave, and it's thanks to you for recommending it. The only challenge I would give it is that it talks about outsourcing to make a $30 an hour job and you got a $300 an hour job. Look, the argument is that there's a lot of things that AI can be doing for you.
Totally.
Well.
Yeah, and it just shows how that book has aged. Even I think it's only 2 or 3 years old, but yet I'd say the concept's solid, but it's going to.
The concept is.
But the evolution of that idea and that concept is going to go even further, right?
Well, that's right. It talks about hiring people and getting people to do some of those jobs that are very distracting, that I'm not good at. I mean, the argument is that don't hire those people. Use AI instead. And there's a lot of things that are possible.
Like the answering the phone example.
Answering the phone, yeah, absolutely. Categorizing emails, creating content, just all of those things that take up a lot of time that you're not good at. You get frustrated with, and as an entrepreneur and a business owner, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not.
Yeah.
And AI is really filling the gap for me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, like, just as someone that's about to hire someone for an admin/coordination role, it's shifted a lot more from like the doing, from scheduling to emailing, to more of like a real life AI agent, in that they can do stuff that's, I guess, physical, right?
Yep.
So it's not
Yep.
yet capable with AI.
Yep.
And so I think even in the last 6 months, that's changed, right? That's pivoted.
Exactly right.
which is
I think what you're going to see, and particularly in the next 6 months, is there's going to be roles advertised for assistants, PAs, EAs, admin people, and the first line is going to be must have AI experience.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of business owners out there that just don't have the time to invest in developing AI tools. And as a business owner, I want to be able to hire somebody who has those skills to be able to automate a lot of that stuff. So I don't want someone writing an email. I want somebody who can use AI to write a good email.
Yeah.
I want to be able to load 1,000 great emails that I've sent previously. I want it to look at the tone, to look at the way that I structure my emails. I want it to train it on that, and I want you to deliver me another email based on all of this stuff. And I want to hire somebody who actually provides, is good at using the tools. We're in the 1800s, and we used to hire, you worked on a farm, you used to hire people that were, good at using a shovel. And now we're hiring for somebody who's a great tractor driver. It's the same outcome, but I can now dig deeper holes, more holes, work for longer, and it's just a different skill set.
Great example. Yeah, so interesting. I was just thinking, even with the application process, I think where people maybe misconstrue AI is that it will replace your own intelligence, whereas really I think the huge advantage you could apply is if you were to couple your own intelligence with it, right?
100%. AI is leverage.
Like the amount of applications that I got that were straight out of ChatGPT, but with no personalization and no thought behind it. Whereas if the prompt had been, I'm applying for a role at XYZ company, here's what they do, how do I stand out? There's likely going to be a volume of other
Go research them.
100%.
What's important, from a cultural perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's the owner, here's their bio, here's what they've got going on. Just taking that extra few seconds to be a bit more creative rather than please write me a cover letter for XYZ company.
Yep.
Because then it's just going to be one of many in a blanket of in a sea of other applicants. So.
I think we're going to see a lot of disruption, particularly in that recruitment space. And by disruption, I mean challenging the traditional models, but also using AI to, for example, somebody who is looking for a job, creating a CV and a cover letter and doing all that research, and then going to a job interview. My prediction is in at least in a couple of years, we're going to have AI agents actually doing all of that stuff for you. So your skill sets, right? So we can basically create an agent that has all those same skill sets, is able to answer questions on your behalf, and you'll have AI agents running around doing job interviews, for you, because it knows that these are the sorts of things, and very, very quickly you can have one recruiting AI agent interviewing a Dave Mouse AI double, and then very quickly we can match people up and work out where the skill sets are, and work out what's going to work.
Yeah, it's crazy taking that to the next level, right? Sort of getting into the matrix territory.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So it's a wild time, Brett.
Wow.
Wowzers.
There you go.
Didn't expect that.
No.
But here we are.
Bombshell at 6:45 on a Monday morning.
On a Sri Lankan Monday morning.
Yeah.
I like that. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the trip, for everything that you do. It's really appreciated. Awesome to have guest number 1 ticked off. And we're going to continue on this merry journey of episode 200.
Great. Thanks for coming on, Dave. It was awesome.
Thank you. Welcome, my friend.
Glad to be here.
Awesome to have you back on the podcast. We're in a different country than last time.
Some small changes have occurred.
Yeah, it's a bit warmer. I like it. How's the trip compared for you versus what you thought it was going to be like?
Oh, that's a great question. Having traveled to this part of the world before and traveled by Tuks before, I knew that there's a certain amount of chaos. What I think the biggest difference has been is that unlike normal travelers, but unlike your average traveler, the sheer amount of seize opportunities by the horns and go off piste that's occurred has been really novel for me. So, we've got 8 guys, all business owners, all very capable people, and when something shiny catches their eye, we're off the road, we're pulling over somewhere, we're doing this, that, and the other, and I'm flicking a couple texts to our fixers to go, we're not on schedule anymore. See you when we see you, and that's been a lot of fun, because I tend to plan things to a T. And that's not what kind of trip this is, and that's a really good thing. That's been a lot of fun for me to sit back and kind of go, I'm just going to be an enabler, and I've really enjoyed that part of the trip. So that's been the biggest difference for me.
That's cool. That's a great answer. Do you think that it's because we're in Sri Lanka and we're in like a developing nation? Do you think that if we were in, say, like Europe or North America, it would be a way different dynamic? People wouldn't be so rogue?
That's a really great question. I think that there's a couple parts to that, but the biggest part is quite simply a yes, only because it feels like we are a little bit in the Wild West. This country's been around for thousands and thousands of years, but from our perspective, what are normal established, I guess, guidelines and consequences but walls of no's, because we tend to be quite a bit more conservative, whereas here it's, what do you want to do? Okay, off you go. That we kind of get that good momentum going. On the other hand, I think that, in tandem with that is the fact that you've got a bunch of lads that are maybe in some ways playing a little bit of chicken with each other. It's kind of who can be a little bit crazier today, and that adds to a lot of the fun. The fact that even with that game, everybody is so supportive of each other and has each other's back at all point in time is really a testament to the camaraderie and the relationships being built here right now.
Yeah, and I guess despite having been to India before and having some experience with the Tuks and having a rough understanding, from what I can gather, India and Sri Lanka are quite different.
Yeah. India is so massive that there are going to be places of India that are more similar to here, but there's definitely places that are radically different. So you've got a spectrum, but it is definitely finding it to be quieter here. The roads have felt quite busy, but as far as everywhere else, it's quieter. There's less people. They're less invasive. We're right now in the heart of the most touristic area of Sri Lanka, and even then, we're not being hassled or bothered. It still seems to be very much of an genuine encounter with the locals, rather than a heavily commercial. If they don't get our money, there's an issue for them, like you can get in places like Bali or in the middle of Bangkok and the like that. So it's a bit more authentic and warm, and
Yeah, it's really interesting. Having not been to Sri Lanka, not been to India, not been to really anywhere like this before. It's been super interesting experience just going through that process, and just, I guess, the pre-planning and just what reality eventuated. So different.
Yeah, the best laid plans are, don't survive contact with the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess from someone that has got no background in this kind of travel, I would just encourage anyone to go take a look at Sri Lanka. Like, what a cool place.
What's your favorite part?
The train was a pretty big highlight.
Yeah.
The train ride we did, which was about 3 hours ish. Yeah, from one town to another. It was absolutely incredible scenery. The adventure of being on a train with the guys, that was great. I think the overarching thing that stands out to me about Sri Lanka in general, though, is just the people. They're incredibly kind, friendly, happy. As you say, with the money side of things, they're not. I don't feel like they're trying to sell anything. They're just trying to host you, right? Yeah. So I feel like there's a level of hospitality here. The service standards are probably not what we're used to in a lot of ways, but yet they're just like, they're such cool, cruisy people.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the big thing.
Yeah.
The train and the overall culture of the country, the nation.
And a lot of pride. They have pride of the country, proud of their lives, and happy to welcome us in.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a cool opportunity to talk about a place like Sri Lanka and from a travel perspective. I'm sure there's a ton of people that are curious. But why not put it on the map a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's somehow I mean, the Aussies are starting to get in here a little bit, which is we don't want them to be first, but it needs to get a little bit more of a highlight for the New Zealand market, because it offers so much, and it's as we found, it's pretty convenient to get here.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I'm going to use it as a stopover for my family, because you can fly. You can actually stop in Sri Lanka and then continue on with Sri Lankan Airlines into Europe. So next time we do that, I think we'll do 7 days here and get a nice little resort on the beach. My kids will love a kids club, and maybe I'll do a little tuk bounce it around myself.
Nice. Yep. I like it. What's next for yourself, Ron? What's the prediction for the next year? Like business, travel, I guess the collaboration with Brett and Rogue Heroes to get this together. I'd love to personally see another trip. In the calendar sooner rather than later. It's always great having something to look forward to.
Yeah. So I'll give you a few answers on that. So last time I was on the podcast, that was right before I went away for my 3-month trip to Europe.
Yeah.
So that was a wonderful business experiment and family experiment with 2 young kids. And what I found on that trip was, and this was knowingly, is that I was going to go operate my business remotely and see what breaks. And on the client face, nothing broke. That worked really well. However, definitely as far as the business funnel and making new relationships and driving new business, that kind of fell over. So the intention was to go away again this year and do it again, because we're staying with family and stuff like that. It works out well. However, this has now become a building year for me. So this is where I'm looking at bringing on staff, and I'm bringing on some really capable people and also some capable technology. So with Brett and the AI, having somebody like that in the room that's going, hey, there's a few optimizations we can make here, is something that I'm going to be leaning into, because I want to be able to just always refine and offer a really exceptional experience, start to finish, and in ways that one person on their own can't ever facilitate. And so this is a year of building and leaning into the knowledge and the relationships that I've made on this trip as well. So next, as far as the Rogue Heroes and the team, that's been really exciting to have the feedback all the way along the trip of going, this is the best. What are we doing next? And there's ideas that the other guys are floating out. So it's not like I go, okay, well, let me go pick something. It's like there's some discussion about Borneo, discussion about Philippines. There's a few other ones that have popped up, and an interest and a willingness to go every year potentially. And I expect with the larger community that there might be some guys in 1 year and not out the next and kind of rolling through. But it seems like what is working really now, as far as really getting this group together and having everybody just really gel and get something that they need for themselves. That maybe normal New Zealand life isn't giving on a regular basis. That little bit of a wild part that doesn't always get fed. To know they're really resonating with that, and everybody already wants to sign up for the next one. So as far as the planning, I'm ready to start planning next week when we're back, and we'll just get it going and see what works for people, and hopefully bring some new faces along as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think this would be a subsector of the business, is organising these kind of group trips, not necessarily attending, in fact likely not attending, but having this as part of the business that is like group travel for sort of adventure seekers or like friend groups or families, or do you see that happening?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. At the heart of everything that we do is it's really bespoke. So it's we can have one person or we can have 50 people come to us and say, we want, this is who we are, what should we do? Or this is what we want to do, how should we do it? And for me to really sit down and dissect below the marketing, below the, somebody recommended I go here, what is it that is going to be really a good fit for you, and help people sort of navigate the absolute almost infinite range of options. So if it's a family group, I have a family group right now I'm working with, and there's a 4-year-old, there's 2 teenagers, and there's adults. So we've got 3 different buckets of interests, and being able to, they're going to Europe in this case, but they could very easily be coming to Sri Lanka. Making sure that each one of them are having this rotation of their own satisfaction coming in. The 4-year-old, we got to find him some playground time every day. He needs half hour in the playground, and and he's going to be topped up, and making sure the teenagers are having something. So there's a matter of figuring out the individual and the whole, and building from there. So as far having families come over here, I'm not sure I'll put families on Tuks too much, but as far as the lads going away or the like, there's a lot of potential there, and I am looking at with conversations I've had with the suppliers here and the opportunities, creating a steady tuk program for Sri Lanka. And so we'll look at that. But it also then is, what about the rest of the world? That is also going to be things we can do. So yeah, it's about looking different, doing different, and delivering something that's going to be really high value. So it's measure 3 times, cut once, but I will be cutting.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the learning that's occurred over the last 8 days, right, versus on paper pre-planning, reality doesn't always match expectations, and so iterating and learning and developing new connections as well, right? Like some of those resorts you went to yesterday.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the longer term future, Ron?
Okay, the longer term future. So it's I feel like there's 5 different points that I can see that are not always aligned. So I'm still navigating that way, but where I really want to go is as I said, build a team up where we're able to further help. I guess I don't really talk about it too much, but I kind of have this BHAG in the back of my mind. What's the big, hairy, audacious thing that I could do? And I would like to, I want to inspire 1 million people to travel a different way, to really look at how they travel a different way. And so I'm building my YouTube channel. I'm building a lot of different things that may never be may or may not be a commercial benefit, but are very much in line with what I want to do. Because I feel there was events and times in my life where I had overseas experiences that fundamentally cracked open the way I look at the world, and I feel like life has been just elevated, and my perspective on it, and how I experience the world has been elevated. And there's so much gold in that that I want to be able to offer that to other people. I want to be able to sort of crack through the norm and let people sort of see a different way, and they can pick it up and run with it if they want, but at least they know it's there. So I want to inspire 1 million people.
Wow.
And I can't do that one-on-one.
No.
So there's definitely ways that I'm trying to figure out how to get there, but I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
So now it's just a matter of what road is it.
Putting the pieces together.
That's right.
Wow, that's an awesome goal. That's so cool. What do you think of the theory of like who you travel with matters, and the dynamic of the group or the people, or even solo traveling? Like it's such a huge variance between traveling with a group of guys versus a partner versus a family versus solo. Like it's an interesting thing to consider, right?
Yeah.
Your experience will vary so much based on who you're with.
Absolutely, but also your energy and your experience. So, I guess I could give one example. I have one of my dearest clients. She's a solo traveler, but when we plan her trips, we tend to put her in with a group tour for a week or two, and then we find that at that point she's ready to say goodbye to them, and then we have some solo guided tour for a bit, and then we'll kind of weave it back in, always sort of changing before things become too monotonous or too repetitive, not monotonous, but repetitive. And that we keep flipping the script. Because when you travel solo, there's just something that happens where people will introduce themselves to you. You're going to meet far more people solo. And then probably 2 or 3 times as often as there's 2 of you. There's a bit of a barrier that way. But that being said, the relationships, accentuating, accelerating relationships, that doesn't happen when you're solo the same way, right? So it's more transactional. It's more, just sort of surface level. Had a great chat at the bar, and off we go. So when you do hard things with other people, sports is a great example. You do hard things with other people, and hard things they can be on a cruise ship. They can be in luxury. They can be that. It's not all just what we've done, although we've done a bit more. It's been it really brings people together, because who do you count on, and who's got your back, and but also being in a place where you can't be an island. We can't be an island here. We got to rely on each other. Somebody's got to. At some point, I'm just too tired to drive. Somebody else is going to step in, and I put my trust in them. So different dynamics, and I feel like it would be really good for people to try all of them in the course of their life.
I agree. Yeah.
And then find what works for them, and what their dynamic is.
Yeah, that's a really good takeaway. And I think something I really enjoy that I probably don't do often enough, though, is to get outside my comfort zone and talk to enough people while traveling, because you can have some really interesting conversations, and I think those conversations can be hugely memorable and impactful, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's in environments like this that you are going to attract a certain type of traveller. So that would be my word of encouragement, would be to just get a bit uncomfortable and have some conversations.
Well, that's where the gold is.
Yeah, I really think so.
Yeah.
And it could be at the coffee shop, it could be at the 5-star resort. It doesn't really matter so much. It's just about different people and conversations. So.
It's something you said there just triggered a thought, and it's one bit of recommendation that I always say to people when they're going on their holiday is intentionally search for uncomfortable opportunities by day, but just make sure that you have a really nice hotel to come back to at night, because you need to be able to have that break. But as we know from so many things in our life, when you're uncomfortable, that's where the growth is. And if you can go to a beautiful luxury holiday where it's all included and there's just nothing to worry about, and that can be great for a rest from other parts of life. But if you're not adding a little bit of friction, you're not moving forward. You're just laying down a bit. And I don't want to dissuade people that are doing that. Sometimes that's what they need. But if you're going for a longer holiday and you're trying to go to somewhere, definitely add some friction. Have the great hotel at the end of the day. Have all the stuff, but make sure you have some challenges.
Yeah, it's such an interesting conversation. It really transcends into all areas of life, right? Like if you're going to the gym and you're not lifting heavy enough weights, or you're not doing enough reps, the results probably aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
And so this idea of friction and hard things, it's sort of come up a few times on this trip, and it's definitely forced me to think a little bit differently about certain areas. And so, yeah, it's cool to get an education while on holiday, right?
We're absolutely, this is a catalytic experience. It's changes here.
Yeah, totally. What's been the most memorable or fun experience for you so far on the trip?
Oh, I think like you, the train was the highlight for me. It was a great atmosphere to. We met a bunch of people. We had a bit of had a good laugh. It was nice to. We've been doing so much driving and everything. It was nice to sit and have a couple of beers and look out the window and see beautiful scenery go by. Just a lot of laughs. It was great. It was great. We were all kind of being all contained in a small little area. There was some fun pressure. It was great.
So good.
It's great.
I think that first hotel was quite good for me. That first rooftop swimming pool bar area, that was cool. Yeah. That was incredible property.
Yeah. What was your favorite dining experience so far?
Probably last night. Yeah, that was a really standout meal. From the service, the ambience, the food, the pricing as well. Yeah. It ticked pretty much every box.
It's a great find.
Yeah, and yet it was totally unknown, right? I don't think Brett knew about that earlier in the morning.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's so many things about traveling, isn't there? Like restaurants and research and just trying to find things.
Definitely.
So.
But there's that fine line of planning enough and not over planning. And so yeah, it's been really good. Like we've left so much slack to be a bit random and to do things as we go, and it's worked out really well. If you were a family group, I'd probably plan things a lot more close together. But yeah, it's worked really well. Great restaurant.
Great restaurant. Even the bridge climb, I'm just thinking about the earlier part of the trip, doing the bridge climb. Like, it's probably something I wouldn't do. I probably wouldn't go and book that by myself, but
Yeah.
because it was suggested, and we're there, we're in Sydney, we're laying over. Why not?
That was a good way to spend
Super good.
a layover. Yeah.
What a great experience.
Oh, it feels like forever ago though.
It does. It really does. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for organising this. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything that you've done. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me on here. Great to be back, and I'm infinitely grateful you're here, buddy.
Cool.
This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Done deal. Welcome, Ross. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah.
One of the unexpected guests, but great to have you here. You've been looking after the boys over the last week or so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tell us about what you do, what your business is, how you got into it.
Yeah, so initially I worked in the real estate, and from there onwards we came into property management. And since 2019, after the Easter bombings, it was a downhill for most of the locals who were involved with the tourism industry. And then came the COVID, and the political instability, then the financial instability in the country. So in the interim, we started a company called Beyond Travels, which our intention was to fill our properties, and that was the main reason that we had to come up with Beyond Travels, just to fill in the properties that we are managing for most of the guests that we have been dealing with for the last 18 to 20 years.
Yeah, right. Okay. Right. So it started as real estate,
Yeah.
as sales, like real estate sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In what city?
Sorry?
In Colombo or?
So I am initially from Kandy, and thereafter from Kandy I directly came to the south of Sri Lanka, and
Yeah.
here I am.
That's amazing. And so were you born in Kandy?
I was born in Colombo, but I'm studying in Kandy.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful country here.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely
you.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you travelled outside of Sri Lanka very much?
Yeah, I have traveled to Australia a number of times, then India, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, countries like close by. Basically, I mostly travel now on business, trying to bring inbound guests into the country. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they mostly groups, or are they couples or families or individuals?
It's a
or-
mix, so we have quite a bit of couples coming in and families.
Yeah.
And when it comes to groups, it is like, a set of friends, just say, we want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And if Sri Lanka, it's a speck in the world map, but, if someone wants to come to this part of the world, yeah, we welcome them with hands open.
Yeah, cool. And they will do a variety of different things. Like you'll help them facilitate the accommodation, transport,
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yes, so it's the number one. What I do is I need to identify actually what they want to do, and according to that we do an itinerary. When you guys were coming in, we have just planned history, culture, and wildlife, and a bit of the beach as well. So like that, there are like many parts that some people only come focus on the wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
Some people come for culture, history, and just beach stays, retreats, like that. So we need to first identify what is their need, and according to that we select the hotels that they stay, and after that the accommodation, transport. Then when we get clients from Spain, Germany, we need translators as well. So yeah, we give the entire service.
Oh, translators.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about the tuk-tuk rentals? Do many people do that?
It is actually now a upcoming activity that we see guests from Australia, New Zealand, then again from Spain. There are couple of groups that came from Canada as well. So surely, I mean, the tuk-tuk tours around the country, the bike tours around country, yeah, it is now picking up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. What about your like customers? Are they generally the customers that you're working with, or travel agents, or both?
So we have, so as I said, Beyond the Travels came after that, which is a B2B platform.
Oh yeah.
And thereafter, there's a B2C platform called Serene Route Travels. So that does B2C, plus we do outbound as well in that. So we have now, taken over inbound, outbound both, and, looking at, growing a bit more.
Yeah, cool. So they're outbound Sri Lankans traveling around the world.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. There's a lot of people actually traveling when it comes to the season, like April, August, December, where they travel to Malaysia, Thailand. A lot of groups travel to Thailand, corporate. Then India for shopping, Singapore, Malaysia. Yeah. So there's outbound is starting to pick up as well.
Yeah. What is like a fun fact about Sri Lanka that people might not know?
I would say there is a mixture of everything, like adventure and the part of Sri Lanka is we are not like everyone thinks that we are very much like India, and they okay, we came to India, so we would have covered that as well, but it's so different to that. I mean, there's a lot of adventure over here, and the history and the beaches, actually those are like the things that you would want to do, and the wildlife over here. Those would be the top recommendation from me here.
Yeah. Is the two countries quite different culturally?
Yeah.
From a
There
personality?
there are a lot of differences when it comes to, I mean, the way we, our culture we have come up, it is quite different to the Indian culture. So, I mean, starting from there are a lot of differences could go on and on. But the main thing is the way there are differences, the way we have come up in Sri Lanka with our history, and India is totally different.
Yeah, I haven't been to India, but I've really enjoyed like the Sri Lankan people there. Everyone seems super friendly, positive, and nice. It's a real pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
over here you see a lot of head signs as well, like okay, and and signals, and from your head and all. There are a lot of signals that go on, like that,
Like the yes.
communication. Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's so good. And you're going to New Zealand at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at going in August. There's this travel show that the tourist board have organized. So, I mean, we have never done New Zealand. So, this is a new market that we are coming, because always whoever came to Sri Lanka came through a different agent, not directly from New Zealand. So, definitely from Australia, and an Australian agent contacts us. So, this time we are going to have a direct connection with them, because there's a big market, and there's a lot of New Zealand who travel quite often.
Yeah.
So looking to go in there and meet new people and travel New Zealand a bit. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. So you're growing the business. You want to expand and scale.
Yeah, definitely expand in the sense, it's actually this, I really enjoy doing it, it's someone's holiday, and I actually take it very personal, and because we don't want to have anyone to have a complaint, because if there's a complaint, they're not satisfied somewhere, and personally I would not want to be in my holiday and have a complaint to make, so that would be a bit negative for me. So the main thing is for there to be zero complaints, right? And if in any case, because we can't control everything.
No.
But if in case something happen, I think I personally would go and see what could be done, maybe upgrades or something. I definitely do something for it. But up to now there isn't many issues that have come up or challenges, I would say. More, I mean, 99.9, I think most of the guests have been rate like 10 out of 10 when they're leaving Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a great mindset to have. I love that.
Yeah.
You're the first Sri Lankan guest I've ever had on the podcast.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is kind of fun. I got a lot of questions, but we've got limited time. But I was curious, do you learn English in schools here?
Yeah, as a subject we do learn English, but only in Colombo and Kandy, or a few of the main cities that people talk fluent English. But I came in a bit of a, we speak at home in English, so that's why I think I speak a bit fluently.
Yeah.
So I had the luxury of having that. Not many over in Sri Lanka have that. But as a subject, yes, we learn English.
Yeah. But so both your mum and dad speak
Yeah.
speak English. Yeah.
Both speak in English, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. What about the majority of the country? Is it a little bit of both?
Not really. I
No.
think around, as I said, in the main cities,
Yeah.
people would be speaking a bit of English, but apart from that, I think 70 to 80% they would, understand, but would not be able to communicate.
Yeah.
So, but from the last 10 years, I would see there's a lot of children being put into international schools, and basically to learn the language, because it has been a big downside for most of the people in Sri Lanka not being able to communicate. So there are a lot of international schools that have come up, and most of the parents are trying to put them in international schools so that they learn the language where they can communicate easily.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, yeah. It seems like an interesting place with a big difference between these 5-star luxury resorts and then all the way to the other end of the spectrum. Is there much lower end accommodation here, or is it all?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, starting from Airbnbs to homestays to, I mean, you can find accommodation from $5 at a home, because at the moment in Sri Lanka we have run short of rooms at the moment, right? So, I mean, if you see the amount of guests that are coming into the country and room count, at the moment there isn't room. That's why homestays and these have been very popular. So I mean, Adelaide is another destination where I don't think we have even 400 rooms over there, but we have thousands of guests coming to that part of the island.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's a big variation of rooms, starting from, I mean, homestays up to 5-star resorts and small bungalows and all of that. It's all available over here.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of construction happening, new resorts and new properties getting built.
There is a lot of international chains that have started to come into Sri Lanka. Like, I mean, the Marriott was built recently in Velikama. Then there's a Fortress that has come up, and there are so many other chains that have come up. A few of Jetwin, we would say, because they are Sri Lankan company. They are like over 30 to 40 boutique properties that Jetwin is doing, and another around 10 or 15 around big hotels with above 100 rooms that Jetwin is doing. And there are so many other international chains that are coming. Aman is in Sri Lanka now. And then, I mean, Cinnamon Life did another, I think, another around 400 rooms up in Colombo. And yeah, there are like so many international chains coming in, which is a good thing, but it has a different feel, You would not, it has that international effect that you would not, it's not raw, I mean, like this,
Yeah.
So yeah, but there are so many properties coming up, and room count still, I think we are maybe around 200, 300 rooms short in Alla. Then Nuoreli, another maybe like 100 to 200 rooms there. Then when it comes to south, of course, I would say there are plenty of rooms, but we can do with another 300 or 400 rooms down south. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Where is a country or two that you'd like to visit?
Sorry?
Where would you like to travel to in the world?
In the world, yeah. So I mean, my first thing actually was a bit quite I wanted to travel with adventure, managed to do a couple of skydives in Australia.
Oh, cool.
Then my next target is to go to, walk on the Great Wall, pyramids, and base camp.
Base camp. Yeah. Wow.
So looking forward to a few more visitors to come and
Yeah.
travel.
I love that. That is awesome. What's the name of that drink that we had the other night? Anak?
Arak.
Anak.
Yeah.
Is that unique to Sri Lanka?
Yes, that is made with coconut, and it is a unique drink to Sri Lanka itself. So it's very popular over here, and you get really good quality arak over here. So should try take about a few bottles when you're going
Maybe, yeah.
back home.
Yeah, maybe. I quite like it. Is it similar to whiskey, right?
There is a few local whiskies as well, but I would say you need to try a few arak.
Yeah.
And take a couple of bottles back home.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, thank you very much for your hospitality, for your service. It's been awesome to be here and to experience Sri Lanka. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me as well, and enjoying Sri Lanka. Hope that you'll enjoy the rest of the tour.
Totally. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right. Welcome to the podcast, Jonan.
Cheers, bro.
It's been wicked meeting you over the last few days.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were one of the guests that has been on this trip that I haven't known beforehand, so this is awesome.
Yeah.
Pete's said nothing but great things, but it's been awesome to hang out and spend some time together.
Yeah.
Have you been on a podcast before?
Never been on a podcast, no.
No, never.
No.
All right,
So
first one.
Unsure what to expect.
Oh,
But,
mate, it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do back home?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of kids. They're awesome, 9 and 6, and a beautiful wife, Kat. And then Kat and I run 2 restaurants, own and run them. One's called Koji, one's Rosella, both in Wellington. Koji's just won New Zealand Restaurant of the Year, Metropolitan Restaurant of the Year, and Rosella's a year and a bit in and doing really well. Yeah.
Wow. That's an incredible achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the process like? Is it an application? Is it a judged thing? How does it work?
It's a judged thing by Cuisine Magazine do their awards every year, and so they send around judges. You don't know who they are. They come and eat at the restaurant and dine, and multiple judges have to eat at your restaurant to be able to win the award.
Right.
So it's not just picked by one person. It's vetted by 1 or 2 people, and then if they think it's going to be up there with the top, then they send other people in to just get a cross-reference, I guess, on decisions.
Yeah, right.
So
Wow. And do you have a gut feeling when someone's in the restaurant that could be a judge, or is it totally
we have known in the past with a couple by their bookings and just know their faces, but there's some that would have slipped through. We had no idea we were going to win anything, so I was actually at home doing the dishes, and Kat had the boys in the shower and just sort of listening to on the phone on the bench, and they said Koji's name. I was like, what? And ran into the bathroom and was like, Kat, I think we just won something.
Wow.
And so I had to rewind it and actually work out what it was, because we just had no idea.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Man, that's so
It
good.
was pretty cool.
And so you've got the title for the next year, and then it gets rejudged?
Yeah, every year it gets judged.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
See what happens.
Man, I'm so pumped up when I come to Wellington next. I can't wait to go and check them both out.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Hey, so leading into this trip, it was kind of cool, right? Like, you got the information from Pete.
Yeah.
You saw the details. You're like, was it a split-second decision? It was like, yes.
Yeah, look, Pete and me have been mates since I was 5 years old, and his energy is just awesome. I know anything he does is going to be fun. Mm-hmm. He sent me this email saying, would you be interested in this? I gave him a call and said, what is it? He said, a group of good lads driving around in tuk-tuks around Sri Lanka having fun. I was like, cool, I'm in. And I messaged and was like, actually, how much was it? So I was in before I knew the cost. And it was just the opportunity to go away with a group of good boys who are, on that same wavelength that I was excited about.
Yeah. And how has it like played out versus expectations? Has it been, what would you say about the expectations or the reality versus what you thought it would be like?
There weren't too many expectations. I'm sort of the guy who doesn't get excited about a holiday until I'm on the aeroplane.
So it was like I hadn't packed until the night before, and then that night packed, and then sort of got excited. The whole trip has been awesome. Just connecting with people, lots of laugh, lots of banter, and that's what I was after. People that don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah.
Not in some ways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's such an interesting dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
Serious in some ways.
Yeah, you've got to have seriousness in certain areas of your life to be able to do fun things like this.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I can relate to what you're saying about packing the night before, not doing a ton of research,
Yeah.
showing up.
Yeah. Sort of with the expectation of, this is the first time I've ever done a tour before. So going, okay, well, normally I'll turn up to a place like this or Indonesia or wherever and just go and hire a scooter and take off with me and my family and just go and do it ourselves. We do a bit of research then, but we sort of just work it out along the way. Knowing this was a tour, I was like, cool, completely out of my hands. I'm just going to go for the ride and see where it goes. And
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've done a tour like this before either, so it's been quite interesting.
Yeah,
It's quite cool, right? Being able to switch off and
it's rewarding in some points and then not so in others. Sometimes you're like, oh, would have been cool if we had stayed here or done this different, but it's still awesome.
totally. Yeah. And so you've done a fair amount of travel. How do you think Sri Lanka compares to anywhere else you've been?
It's definitely up there. I love it. The
me
food
too.
is awesome. It almost reminds me a little bit of Indonesia in some of the style of the travel and the people. The people here are just gorgeous.
Amazing. aren't
The food, incredible. Accommodation's been awesome. Everyone we drive past just smiles and waves and just wants you there. Like,
It's a good vibe,
cool,
right?
Yeah, good vibes.
they?
Absolutely.
Have you got a standout event or moment from the trip so far?
Oh, definitely the train route. Just
Yeah.
having a run in a muck on the train with
Yeah.
the boys. Yeah, it was a bit of fun hanging out the windows and stuff.
Yeah. Trains come up a few times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excited to go get some scuba diving in today. Go and see what's under the water.
Yep.
That'll be
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
What else you got on the travel horizon going forward?
So I'm off to Thailand around June, July. I haven't booked those dates exactly. Going there for about a month, taking the kids over and Kat. They'll stay for a week or so, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the time just travelling and researching for a new restaurant.
Nice.
Very, very excited for that trip. And then we're off to Canada towards the end of January, beginning of February. We've got a house swap with some friends for a month. So again, take the boys over for the full time and Kat, and just get them right into the snowboarding and skiing, which I'm super excited for them. They've been skiing a few times, but only for 2-day periods, not a full month of let's actually really get into it and see what they can do.
Yeah.
So
What a wicked way to learn and stack skills, right? Just
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the house that we're going to be staying in it's got all the toys. It's got the skidoos. It's got everything we need. So it's all set up, ready to go for us.
Yeah, cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Have you found much inspiration on this trip from going to different restaurants, different resorts? Is there any takeaways that you've noticed that you could apply back home?
Yeah, the way they do their coconut sambal here, I think I could definitely bring that into either Koji or the new Thai place. And then the egg you had on at the first hotel, just the way they did that. So I went up and filmed how they did it, and so they made a batter and then put it into these bowl-shaped copper pots, and then set the batter and then cracked the egg in it and just created that beautiful nice shell around it. So there's a Thai dish called son-in-law eggs. I may be wrong on the translation or on the story behind it, but I believe it comes from, it's the first dish the son eats, the groom eats, after they get married, and it's given to him by the mother-in-law.
Oh, interesting.
So son-in-law eggs, and so it's egg and chili jam and herbs and stuff like that. So I was thinking doing that cooking method and making it into a dish. Yeah, son-in-law eggs.
Wicked.
Would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a crepe mixed with crumpet, mixed with...
Yeah,
Hard to explain, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but really cool presentation.
Delicious.
So,
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
What about goals in other areas of life? What are you working on?
Yeah, at the moment our focus is getting the 2 restaurants set, just with all our back of house structures. They're pretty awesome at the moment, but we just want to tighten things up before we expand into the Thai restaurant, and then we want to do look at going into Koji in Auckland and Christchurch, and possibly Rosella and the Thai place as well. So expanding the 3 restaurants and having 3 really good, strong brands that are well known around New Zealand. And then we're just diversifying a bit with property and shares and things.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
that's sort of our main focus financially at the moment and just business-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kat and I we love the hospitality industry. We live and breathe it. We quite happily sit up all night. She's just messaging me wallpaper for stuff for the bar area that we're changing at Rosella and things like that. And yeah, we're just constantly on the go with it. So it's never, we've got to stop work and focus on life. It's just life and work are one thing, and they harmoniously work together really well for us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's that saying? Like if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly,
It's a bit
yeah.
cheesy and a bit cliche, but there's probably a bit of
Yeah, look, I
Truth to
definitely
it.
feel like that. It took 25 years of working 80, 90 hours a week in Michelin star and hatted restaurant to get here. But
Yeah.
now I'm at a point where I've got an amazing team.
Yeah.
They look after the place. I mentor them. I still create the food. But yeah, we're very lucky in how we've set it up and how we're able to step back and work on the business rather than in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
really important.
It's an interesting one, right? Like that huge amount of reps and time and effort that's gone in over the years, and a lot of people don't see that or recognise what it takes, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that does slip into the back of my head, especially with new staff. Of like, they might look at me as I'm just the guy that's not in there all the time. I mean, I'm in there every week, like 3-4 days a week still, but not on the tools. So, it gets into the back of your head, but you just got to realise that you've done your time, and your role now is to look at the vision, look at the future, and how to empower them in their roles. And that they all the guys we have, they just step up. They're awesome.
Love that. What do you know about the process of the Michelin star program, or?
Michelin star, not too much. It's a guide that was created by the Michelin tires, but back in the 18 something, I believe, where they wanted to sell tires, so they created this list so that people would drive around France and wear down their tires to buy more of the top restaurants, and it just built into this enigma of almost chefs getting they get too overworked about the importance of it. Look, we love getting awards, but that's not what we focus for. It's not what our driving force is. If we've got happy staff, happy customers, then we know that the numbers will work. And so that's our main focus, is making sure we look after our staff. If we look after our staff, the customers will be looked after, look after them, money will come in, and we'll be able to support a thriving business.
Yeah,
So,
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it work a bit like the award, in that there's mystery people looking around for Michelin stars, or is it more of an application process?
No, it's exactly the same. There's mystery people. I think it's a lot more in depth, or a lot more people. But yeah, they don't do Michelin in Australasia, so it's not in New Zealand or Australia. So our hat system is the equivalent, I'd say. So we almost got 2 hats for Koji, which would be close to 2 Michelin star, in my opinion.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking the other day about the book Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites. I love the essence. I love the whole ethos of that book.
Yes.
You've read it. You're familiar with it.
Yeah.
You've even had a connection with one of the authors. Is that?
No, that was, I got the book mixed up. That was with Ben Shuri for a different book. But Will Garuda, incredible guy.
Yeah.
He's trained under another guy, Danny Meyer, whose book is Setting the Table, which has sort of set the foundation for modern hospitality today, I'd say. Just in sort of what I was talking about before, looking after your staff, like treating people like human beings, like really, you're in service to the guests. If you're, what true hospitality is, you're not there just to give them things. You're actually there to make them forget about their everyday life, to like bring them into a space where they're just like everything washes away and they're there. It's like a show for them almost. And they're just indulged in that moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's a totally polarizing experience than begrudgingly serving, taking someone's order,
Yeah.
going through the motions, right?
Absolutely. And so, yeah, Will's book just, I guess, takes that to another level in a different way. And so, yeah, both are equally just as awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool how the book, although hospitality centric, I think that applies to any business. If you go over and above, if you go so unreasonable
Yeah.
that people can't help but either be a raving fan or refer business or,
Yeah.
talk about you.
Yeah. There's another restaurant in, what country is it? It's in the States, sorry. I just can't remember what state. But it's called Rose's Luxury. And they won Restaurant of the Year a couple of years ago. And their article, when I was reading it, they had a thing called BPA, which was blow people away. And so their roles was like to have games with the staff of who could blow the person away the most.
Wow.
And so they found out this guy, one example was they found out that this guy had loved watching the football and the Super Bowl was on, but he'd had this family dinner that he couldn't miss out. And so they rolled a TV up to the window outside and sat his seat there so he could still watch that and be at the dinner and not interrupt the restaurant because it was outside, there was nothing playing, but he could still glance over it. And and he didn't know, it was just this pure spur of the moment, here you go, and yeah, he was blown away. And just that opportunity to look for those moments and go, how can we make sure these people absolutely love it. Everyone's individual and we need to cater to them as individuals. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess in the book, they take it to the absolute extreme, right, of having teams of staff to purely wow people, essentially.
Yeah. There's big costs in doing that. Massive costs. And like they had 11 Madison Park, which was number one in the world, and like a fine dining elite restaurant. So they charged those big dollars.
Exactly.
And could afford it. So yeah.
But I think the takeaway for me is just how do you scale that toward your own price point and your own size, right?
Exactly. And that's the challenge we have. We're modern, fast-paced, high energy, loud music, high end in our products. We have crayfish, we have power or abalone, whatever you want to call it. And we get the best produce from around New Zealand. We have amazing service. Like we take the flavours of Michelin Star or Hatted, we take the service of Michelin Star and Hatted, but just make it casual and fun so everyone feels welcome. It's not stuffy.
Yeah.
And so because the price point is lower as well, it's still on the upper end, but it's not right up there. And so, yeah, it's a challenge. We don't really have that same budget to do that, but it's like, how can we still... There's always a way, how can we implement stuff and make that work?
Totally, yeah. I mean, it makes me think to what we were talking about yesterday with just how to handle any conflict or any issues that may arise, which they inevitably do, right?
Yeah.
And it's just being a bit creative, communicating effectively and getting to the bottom of it,
Yeah, at the end of the day, humans want to be heard and gotten. That's what they want. They don't want free stuff. Look, it's fine to give away free stuff, and we do give away free stuff to them. But first, before we do any of that, we make sure we truly listen to them. And I think that's a dying art. It's something I'm trying to do more, and getting my team to, and actually actively stopping yourself, turning your filter off, because everyone wants to respond automatically. As soon as somebody starts talking to you, most people are already thinking about a response rather than actually listening to the conversation. So truly stop, listen, get them, and actually repeat back to them what they've said, but in your own words, so that they truly feel that you've understood them. And that most 9 out of 10 times will break down the barrier. When somebody truly feels that you are upset, and I get why you're upset, and that's justifiable. We've messed up, I'm really sorry, and then we can move forward. But you've got to do that step first.
Totally. Yeah, it's funny, right? You sort of see hospitality as food and delivering meals, but really it's about the people and the essence of making them feel welcome, listening, communicating.
Human connection. That's the soul of the earth.
100%.
And that's this trip. It's all about human connections, like with each other and the people we meet, If you're looking at life through that filter, I guess, I think you're going to go places. 'Cause it's like, how can I meet, connect, and then grow?
Yeah, totally. What do you think about the whole online review space and how, TripAdvisor, Google, you know, like, I don't know, like, it's an interesting one, right? Like, even just in our experience in Sri Lanka, like trying to find restaurants and
Yeah.
going to high reviews, low reviews, I guess there's a certain volume where there's got to be some truth to it.
Oh, 100%. We look at them every week. We read the good ones, a few of the good ones out to the team, because there's quite a lot. But we're looking for the bad ones, and we take them on board. Like, whether the customer was right in our opinion doesn't matter. In their opinion, they're right, and that's how the experience occurred for them. So then we've got to look, okay, well, is their experience true or not? And if we don't believe it is, how can we learn to mitigate that in the future? And if their experience was true, then what do we need to jump onto it straight away and mitigate and change that course. But yeah, no, we take them very seriously. I know a lot of restaurants that sort of just, yeah, whatever. But it's our customers. These are the people that are paying the bills, that keep my staff. I've got 45 staff I need to support. And yeah, if we don't have those people coming through the door, and yeah, so we need to take it seriously. People are choosing to spend their money with us, and if they're not leaving happy, I really want to know about it. I want to make a difference.
Yes. Yeah. I guess it's just filtering through those bad ones and determining if it is legitimate feedback that you can take something from, or if it is just someone being unhinged.
Yeah, sometimes there's nothing in it for us. We read it, we read it a couple of times, and I ask the team, is there anything we're missing here? Like, and sometimes there's not enough information. And if it's like that and it's quite a scathing review, we'll reach out to them and say, hey, I'd love to have a private chat with you, just to get to know what happened that night or day, and try and get some more information, so we can be better.
Yeah.
Our goal is to remarkable experiences for every single customer every single time.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing that, then we're not achieving our mission.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we need to work out how to do that.
Yeah, I love that. So good.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, Jonah.
Yeah, no worries, bro.
So good to meet you,
absolutely.
and just hear your story, your ethos, your values. It's been great. So, as I say, keep an eye out for you in June.
Yeah.
And let's enjoy the next couple of days.
Absolutely.
Wicked.
Cheers, man.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you. Cheers. Ollie, how's the trip been? How's the trip been based on what you expected? What's happened? How have you found it?
Yeah, it's honestly been crazy, David. Like, I'm 19 and I've been invited along to this absolute journey of a trip. It reminds me of Top Gear and another show, forgot the name of it, but just reminds me of that sort of thing. I was just like, I have to jump on it. I can't just let it go. And I've got to thank you again for the invite for that.
Oh,
really appreciate that.
Man, it's great having you along, and
Yeah.
I just can't believe how it's all played out like this. It's come together.
Yeah.
Was there any hesitation when we originally were talking?
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit, honestly, because I personally haven't gone much travelling in my older years of life so far. So in Sri Lanka, it was kind of a lot different to anything I was planning to do if I was going to.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a little bit of hesitation, but have to grab the opportunity by the neck and
Absolutely.
gotta go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that's been a bit of a theme on this trip, is doing things that are maybe a little bit uncomfortable and not the easy way?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, along with the Tuks, there's always been a problem every time we're going to a new accommodation. But that's the fun of it, you know. Like, you know, it's going to be all right in the end, and having that little bit of friction
Yeah, totally.
adds to the trip, more
Absolutely.
character.
Yeah. What's it been like with a whole bunch of like older dudes, right? Like some of us are, double your age. Like what's that been like?
Yeah. Personally, I've liked it.
Yeah.
It's been good getting around that sort of age range and knowing how to talk and everything like that. I personally have really enjoyed it. It hasn't really taken I thought maybe it will take a toll on how I'm going to socialise at the start, but at the end of the day, it's not as scary as what I initially thought, and yeah, it's just like talking to any other person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think there's anything that you'll apply to your like normal life after this trip? Like, do you think you'll have takeaways that'll continue, or that, I don't know, any learnings or?
Like, just in terms of how all of you guys do things, like up early every single morning, getting those repetitions in, like, it's not just an overnight success. You've done it over years and years and years of work. Like Jonan, he was mentioning he was working 80-hour weeks as a chef, and now he's running his own two restaurants, something like that. And yeah, you may think this person that doesn't come into work every day, they've got it really easy, but they've had all these repetitions they've done in their life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a really good point. I guess when you think about that for yourself and like how, long it could take to get to the sort of goal that you're working towards, it just, I don't know, I guess it's both good and bad, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's good to know roughly what to expect, but I guess it's also daunting. I also think that over your career and lifetime, like, there's probably going to be a huge amount of change, like with hearing from Brett around AI and like tech and just like what are we going to experience? It's hard to predict, right?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. AI is definitely going to have a big play in the content side of things, I think, at least. Like, already for script writing, for a lot of people that do video, they definitely use that. It's a great tool, and even just giving it a try now, like, it's creating such a personalised script. It's probably best to have your own little spin on it, but it's on a whole different level every time.
Incredibly helpful. Have you found it useful, or do you use it a lot for the post-production part of of what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So on the more simpler stuff to edit, so like a podcast, you can utilise AI to edit basically the whole entire process. It's more for simpler type of videos, and if you're doing a video where there's someone talking in it, it's quite easy to implement AI to edit it for you. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
You wonder where it's going to go in the next couple of years. Like, any predictions on what you've seen and like what you think could eventuate in terms of like, is it going to be capable of more cinematic editing? Is it going to be more efficient than actually doing it the conventional way?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I reckon I'm not sure about the cinematic side of things. I definitely think it will get there. But in terms of saving time as a business owner and creating content, I think you'll be able to sit in front of a camera and let it get X amount of videos of you, and it'll be able to create content just from that. And I've seen that through a couple of other softwares. It's getting there, not quite there, but it's getting there. Even I heard Pete's using it for teaching some of his staff, like on the audio side of things at least, and
Yes.
it seems to be doing a really good job. So that's just a show of where it's going.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. How about you? What's in the cards for the next, say, year or so?
Next year or so. So I was doing a bit of real estate video, and I found it's taught me a lot of things about talking to professionals in the industry, and I've kind of found, I want to still do that, but it's not my main niche, and that's what I've found out. And me being so young, there's a lot of things I want to try out. So right now, I'm just looking at working with more business owners and helping them get more business through content, providing them through ads, video, everything, just to take that headache and stress away if they're looking to get into content.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. It's I think most businesses are probably underdoing it when it comes to content. Like, there's not many that are overdoing it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Like, when you look in places like Australia and America, you just see it's a completely different game, and a lot of companies are utilising it, especially for real estate. You just see that, and it's just nuts, the type of content they're making. And then you compare it to somewhere in New Zealand, even Christchurch, it's getting to that level now. You can see through a few videographers, but most of the market hasn't been taken by storm like America and Australia has so far.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with, say, like Gary Vee, but when he first like had D-Rock going alongside him, like documenting the journey, like probably 10 years ago, I thought that would have become a lot more common. I thought that in-house content creators would have been a lot more common, and like people would have videographers on their team. But some companies do, but it's not exactly common, right?
No. I reckon the business owners that don't see it are so focused on the goals of getting that high profit, I guess, and they don't quite see the benefit of content so far.
And the investment that's required, yeah. Have you read the book, They Ask, You Answer?
No, I haven't.
It's a really good book, and essentially it just talks about content marketing and how if you can just provide an overwhelming amount of information to your prospective customers and just give them everything that they're thinking, right?
Yeah.
And so if like the example is he has a swimming pool business, and like he'd get phone calls and people would be like, yeah, how much is a swimming pool? Of course you can't answer that just like, yeah, it's 20 grand. You know, of course there's a ton of variables, but there's also a ton of other questions that they're asking. And so it's like you can give reference points, you can give framing around pricing, and essentially you can just help provide a wealth of information for your clients so that they're not left wondering, or you know, by the time they come to you, they're almost pre-sold because you've given them so much information. So yeah, I don't know, it's just interesting to me, the content and marketing world. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Because I came from doing university, doing my accounting and marketing degree. I didn't actually enjoy marketing that much, and yet here I am doing content and marketing now, and taking a bit of a break from uni and seeing where it takes me and really deep diving into it.
yeah,
It's a bit of a wild change.
Totally.
Even through high school, I was doing my media and stuff like that, and I didn't really enjoy that because it was a lot of just writing and not doing.
right.
And now I'm with a camera and just doing, and I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what a
it's
difference,
cool.
right? Like
Yeah.
learning through theory versus learning through doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a difference though, marketing versus accounting.
Yeah, definitely. But no, accounting was good. I enjoyed that. Just want to see where my passion takes me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, you see people online and all of this, they're all following their passion and what they want to do, and just want to give that a go.
Yeah. No, that's a great mindset to have. I think like that sunscreen song that we listened to the other night at dinner, right? Like some of the most interesting people don't know what they want to do at 40 or 60.
Yeah.
So I think by tasting, like I've always been a big advocate for that, not like jumping around flippantly, but like just trialing different things and experimenting with what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, great mindset.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Ollie. We're getting absolutely eaten alive here.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you've done. You've been such a pleasure to hang around on this trip, and it's been awesome. So I can't wait to see the final output.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks,
No
Ollie.
worries.
Appreciate it.
Sweet. Cool.
Done.
Yeah. Now we're talking, Brucey.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
All right, mate. Welcome.
We rolling.
Welcome back to the podcast. There's been 100 episodes since we last caught up on here.
Wow, amazing.
March last year, 2024,
In the sauna.
in the sauna. Yeah. Do you remember what you were doing at that stage?
What was I doing?
Business-wise, work-wise, family-wise,
Yep, I
travel-wise?
just had my little daughter was 1.5 back then, so things had changed, calmed down a little bit from the initial craziness. So Elsie was starting to sleep through. I was starting to sleep again. Things were starting to get a little bit more normal. Work-wise, we were expanding. We just expanded through to Queenstown, and that was going very well. I just appointed a project manager to look after those areas outside of Christchurch, which was fantastic because the project manager I had was taking care of all of the regions, but it was getting too busy. So we appointed a second project manager, and that was amazing.
Nice.
A wonderful step. And I was just about to get a personal assistant. That was a few months later, which has been an amazing move as well.
Yeah, cool. And you were pretty dialed in health-wise at that point, weren't you? You were gymming regularly, sleep was pretty good.
Yep.
Other than the...
Sleep was back to normal.
Yeah.
Gym was good. Diet was going okay as well. So,
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
And just fast forward to like more recently, you know, the trip got announced probably, when was it, mid to late last year? Sri Lanka trip. There's some
Yes.
chatter.
Yep.
And then I think it was late
Chatter's going
last
around.
year that's when it was like, all right, it's on, here's the pricing.
Yep.
Lock in or don't lock in.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you were one of those advocates you were going, right?
Yep.
Pretty much rain or shine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, straight away.
Yeah.
I'd been to Sri Lanka before. I've been there about 5 years ago with my wife. So I knew about this country. I knew how amazing this place was. We're visiting a lot of the things that we visited back then, but I knew it was going to be a different trip, a different sort of trip with the boys. my wife and I didn't hire tuk-tuks and strap a pink human-sized bear called Chantel at the top, nor did we play chicken at the train station and last one on's the winner at one of the stops. But it was a wonderful trip, but in a different way. It was, yeah, so I knew this place is absolutely amazing. Also keen to connect with you guys and a bit more, and at the end of last year every year at the end I do a bit of an audit on health, wealth, relationships, health, mental, physical, spiritual, wealth, how financial things are going for me, and relationships. And I decided to prioritise relationships a bit this year. Got a good bunch of mates, but not interested in good. I like great. And not a better way than actually travelling with people and really we were talking about this on the boat the other day, yesterday. Just to be able to connect at a deeper level and just find out more about what people are like and how they cope with tricky situations, with driving through the Sri Lankan Colombo chaos when the headlights break, and what do you do there? And so yeah, it's definitely something that I have wanted to prioritise this year, and so yeah, I was in straight away.
So it was like the perfect opportunity. It was a great country that you'd been to. It was a group of guys that you knew somewhat, some more than others, but it was just like a perfect opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's a cool thing that Brett's created, and I think this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like, it feels to me that this loneliness epidemic that's spoken about a bit, it is real. And I think especially business owners, they do struggle to, I guess, maintain, develop and create quality relationships because they're maxed out, right?
Yep.
Like they're either deep in the business / family, and it doesn't really leave a lot of surplus time.
No, it's definitely something that is real. If collaboration, I'm finding is more important to me than ever at the moment. I have had some great examples of collaborating with some other guys, expanding into a different region. Guy that comes to mind is Matt Gorinsky, who's been on your show, when we expanded into Blenheim. And I've found that if you're working together with someone, going through the coalface together, through the fires, that's amazing. Like, you really develop amazing relationships in that way. So yeah, the collaboration piece is actually another thing that I'm focusing on this year.
Nice.
I almost think to a certain extent competition happens at the bottom, and as you climb up, collaboration becomes more and more important. So we've recently done a couple of joint ventures with some other painting companies, so within companies itself, and now even with our management team, we're looking at just getting them a little bit more. They're starting to get a little bit of a profit share on some of the jobs, and it's just a great way of doing business.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So yeah, that's another big focus this year. But yes, the loneliness is very real. I do chat to a lot of people actually, and it's amazing, that just how much loneliness there is out there, but as well just how much little things can go a long way. So say we take some coffees on site to the boys, mate, they are so happy about that, right? It's just, you're just showing a little bit of recognition, and it just, little things go a long way, or like a coffee or a compliment, or hey, I noticed you did that. That was awesome. Well done.
Totally.
There's not a lot of that goes on, and so I think it's very important to be aware of that if you're in the business, and with your team, and just with your friends around you as well.
Yeah, I think this trip's taught me a bit about that, and how like a spontaneous, unexpected conversation with a stranger can go a long way, even just to fill your tank up, like got talking to a guy at the coffee shop the other day, and he's travelling around, and I don't know, he's just a good dude. He's just like a free spirit, but it was cool having that reference point, and whether he got anything out of it or if it was just a conversation, it was just a nice way to connect. I think like with the what was
the
that?
monkey.
Mate.
There they go.
I've never had a podcast interrupted by monkeys before.
That's a big noise.
It's a huge noise. I think we can often get sucked into this and technology, and I think having face-to-face chats and connection is just critical.
And that little interaction at the coffee shop, Jonan and I had the little interaction playing the game with the two kids, the local kids, and it's just those little things that are so important. And one thing I've noticed is as you get a bit older, the little things are the big things, right?
Totally true.
Yeah, that's something I very much enjoy about travelling is meeting other travellers and hearing their stories, but especially meeting the locals and just spending a bit more time with them and seeing the world through their eyes. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it was cool having Ross on the podcast before.
Yeah,
Like, how random, how good though.
so good. Yeah.
What a different, it was just a brief segment, but it was just cool to interact with him and just to hear his story.
Well, he really just loved the concept that we had going. He owns a successful business, and he said he's been doing it for several years, and he's never jumped on board an actual tour like this, but he thought this sounded cool, so he thought he'd come check out what these crazy Kiwis are doing.
Yeah.
Their tuk-tuks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even the locals, like even just the fact of like smiling or waving at them, they all wave back, they all smile back, like they're just so nice, aren't they? Such a cool culture.
It's a great culture, and the amount of smiles that the tuk-tuks have brought to people, the rubber duck and the beers and things on, they absolutely love it, and it's just wonderful to see, especially the little kids.
Totally.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
My brain just goes to being back home in New Zealand and just how do you take a little bit of that essence and put it back into everyday life.
Yeah, I think it's just remembering those small interactions are really cool, and maybe just chatting to someone when you're waiting for coffee with them. And
I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I think also just like not being like you're pretty like outgoing, positive, but like I think it's a good call to action for other people to like just smile at people and wave and just I don't know, just be a bit friendlier, right? Like not be so like closed off.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's relaxed here on holiday. They're doing their thing. There's their story of what they've been up to and that sort of thing. But there's no reason why we can't take that back.
Not at all.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah. I think it's a good opportunity to connect with people. I remember when I did that 75 hard phase 3 challenge, and one of the things was talking to a stranger every day.
Yep.
For 30 days in a row, and it was quite tough. Like it was a really conscious effort I had to make. But having gotten through it, it was like, wow, that was so rewarding.
Yep.
But in order to keep that going, it was like it wasn't natural.
Yeah.
So
one thing I've noticed recently is the more you actually listen to people and engage in conversation with them, the more they'll let you know what they truly think. And I've just found it's amazing what people do actually really think. But I think listening is a bit of a dying art. A lot of people, they are just thinking about what they're going to say next, and they're not actually taking on board what the other person is saying. But if you are able to develop that skill, I think that's very important as a leader. So you can actually drill down to what exactly is going on. I mean, I sometimes, if there's issues that are going on in the company or in a relationship, it's just that the other person wants to be heard. They don't necessarily want a solution.
that's right.
They don't necessarily know what the problem is, but if you actually allow them a space to say what, and to actually go through their mind and drill down what is actually wrong, and then the fact of just talking it through often just helps.
Totally. Oh, 100%. And like when you're talking about collaboration and partnerships, joint ventures before, like that's what I've found so much through what I do is a lot of problems and issues can be resolved just through a conversation, brainstorming, throwing ideas around. I don't think it's always the case that we've got the perfect response or action step, but through just communicating and throwing around ideas, you can get to that place.
So important. And then you can learn from that, adjust, get that feedback, adjust it, and then improve your operation.
Yeah, because I think certain personality types, myself especially, like it's really easy for things just to like circle round in here and get into like a death spiral almost. Whereas I feel that by verbalizing it or communicating with someone else, it's a lot more helpful.
You've got to, I found that if there's a awkward conversation that needs to be had, or something that needs to be addressed, the longer you leave it, the worse it becomes.
Massively
the
true.
stronger that dragon
Yeah.
becomes,
Yes.
that you need to contend with. So for me now, if I see that that's happening inside my head, I will just go straight away and address it. The conversation just happens straight away. And I think that's something it's really important. Something else that's really important is that you don't let things that have happened dwell in your mind as well, right? I've got a thing now where if something bad happens, which they will do as a business owner or in a relationship with anything, I will set a little timer for 10 minutes, and that's the time I've got to feel bad about it, to get annoyed or upset. After that, there's no more, and we just move on. And during that 10 minutes, what I actually do is I just get out a piece of paper and pen, and I write down what's happened, and we start just exploring how we're going to adjust and tweak things in the operation so that it doesn't happen again. And you get better and better at that. And now, we had a house that was painted the wrong colour at some point recently, and there's no point getting all upset and annoyed about it. One response is you call up the project manager and get annoyed, and he or she will call up the foreman and get very annoyed, and the foreman will talk to the apprentice who did it and get very annoyed, and then the apprentice gets annoyed with everything and nothing changes. And the other response is just, okay, team, this is what's happened. Mistakes happen in construction, mistakes happen in anything. How are we going to make sure this doesn't happen again? What can we learn from this? And I think that is when you have the mindset of, it's going back to that extreme responsibility, taking ownership of everything that happens in your life, not blaming anyone else. At the end of the day, whatever happens in your business is your responsibility.
Totally.
And you need to take ownership for it. And if you don't take ownership, then your team will see what you're doing, and they will start doing the whole blame, and it produces a toxic culture and one where nothing's learned and you can't improve. So I think that has been a real game changer for me the last few years, is just everything is my responsibility.
Yeah, I like that. Is that from the book, Extreme Ownership, or?
No, that is, I think, from talking with
Just figuring it out.
people and
nice.
maybe other podcasts and things.
Yeah,
It's super important.
it's a good mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's important that people don't realise that you're not blaming yourself for things, right? It's because some people might find it too hard to do that, and they think, oh, it's blame, and start getting all bad, feeling bad about it. So it's not. It's just a different viewpoint on how you see the world. And it's the only viewpoint that you adopt where you can actually do something about it, and you can be in the driver's seat in your own life.
It's a good point.
If you're not in the driver's seat, then you're just getting taken, and that is the last thing that we want.
Yeah, it's a really good, it's a good small detail there though, right? It's not beating yourself up for it. It's about being constructive and trying to figure out why whatever went wrong, right?
Yes.
Because I think and again, it's a real subtle nuance, right? But you could easily just be like, I'm just not good enough, or
Yes.
like I'm just not capable, blah, 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 right?
Yes.
Negative self-talk, but that's not the purpose. Like the purpose is to try to figure it out, right?
The purpose is so that you're in the driver's seat of your life.
Yeah.
And yes, I think that some people may hear you're responsible for everything, and say, oh, I can't do that, because they will blame themselves and start feeling negative about it. But that's not the point.
No.
Yeah.
You're a big energy guy, Pete. How do you manage your own energy on a daily basis? What gives energy? What takes it?
Good question. I've always had pretty good energy, a lot of it. I would say having a good vision would help.
Yeah.
Knowing your why helps. So to be able to have that positive energy even through the bad times, if you have a very clear on what you're doing. It was Nietzsche who said, he who has a strong why can bear almost any how. And that is something that I advocate to everyone, as business owners, relationships, everything, is you get clear on where you're going and why you're doing it. And then if you have a strong mission and a strong why, you can handle the curveballs that get thrown at you, and that they will.
Yeah.
I think that's where it mainly comes from.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Do you find that you get it from other people? Like, do other people give you energy?
absolutely.
Do others say, like, negative, down, uncomfortable energy? Does that chip away at yours, or not so much?
It's not so much. It does a little bit, but I just realised that some people are like that, and it's more about trying to give as much as I can out. But definitely when you're around other positive people, it makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
And I feel myself
Yeah.
rising,
Topped up.
topped up.
Yeah.
And that's, they talk about, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And that's very real. If you're around negativity, that it will sink in. It's interesting though, you do meet people who have gone on and done extremely well and succeeded, and a positive outlook, and they have grown up around a lot of negativity. So it's not the be all and end all. I think perhaps another consideration is not the 5 people you hang around with, but the 5 inner thoughts that you're having, the 5 most reoccurring inner thoughts.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's something I've just thought about recently, actually. It's because you do see the anomalies, right, break through. And if you've got the inner thoughts that are negative, then that's terrible, right? That is going to very much slow you down,
100%.
as much as, if not more, than being around other negative
Well,
people.
that's it. I mean, that's 24 hours a day.
Yes.
If that's on loop, then of course that's going to have more of an impact than people you might see for 30% of the day, right?
Yep. Yeah. But if you've got the strong thoughts inside that, things are going to be great and things are going to turn out well and everything happens for a reason, even the bad things you can learn from, then, and I think also that goes back to the mindset change of life is not happening to you, but life is happening for you or by you, right? I think that's once someone can get to that point, and that takes a bit of coaching, a bit of training, once you get to that point, then that really helps that inner dialogue.
Yeah, the Neurofit program I'm doing at the moment has been really interesting to explore a few of those thoughts and those inner monologues that are on repeat. And
Yes.
both what they are, firstly, identifying them, and then also peeling back the layers a little bit to try to find where they came from and what they could mean. And it's been a really interesting process to go through.
So what's this Neurofit?
Neurofit is a business, it's a training business. They're one of the sponsors of the podcast.
Awesome.
So one of their programs is a 8-week-long program, 1-hour sessions in person. I'm about halfway through it at the moment, and I find it difficult to explain the program in its entirety, but essentially it's trying to understand your thought process and understand your own personality and where I guess you're getting held up, like where those roadblocks are.
Right.
And so I'm just going through the process at the moment called a thought detox, which is where you essentially journal out a whole bunch of your thoughts and feelings and what they, and even that in itself, and you alluded to that before about the process of journaling and how that can help clarify what's going on in here.
Yes.
And so it's just been interesting to see what happens over the course of, say, a week of doing this thought detox. Is that I've found recurring themes happening, not in the exact same format or not in the exact same symptom, but just similar underlying tones, right? So it's been an interesting process.
Right, and it's been helpful.
So far, so good. Yeah, I think it'll get even more helpful once there's a overarching view of like where I'm at and what to do about it. But yeah, so far it's been really interesting.
I've heard that curiosity is a very important part of resilience. I was listening to a psychologist talk about this recently, and she was saying that if you are curious about what's happened, and then you're able, and about the world in general, and that is a really big part of being able to be more resilient to things that come at you. And I think that tied into what I do with journaling after something goes wrong, and that's that curiosity on, well, how can we improve this? What happened? Getting clear on what happened, what went wrong, writing it down, and how can we improve? And so if you're curious, it's sort of, you're not able to have that worry sort of fester so much because you're busy focused on other things.
You're in think mode, right?
Yeah.
Like you're in the mind of thinking and trying to problem solve versus just, I think curiosity is a great word, and it's something that I really value in a lot of different areas of life. But yeah, I think it's a great word. Yeah.
Nice.
What's on the agenda for the rest of this year? You mentioned prioritizing relationships.
Yep.
I'm sure that health and fitness is no doubt a focus.
Yes.
What else you got going on?
Fitness. I've got number 2 coming.
Number 2.
End of May. So very much looking forward to that. The challenge again. I know what I'm in for now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the big thing.
Yeah.
I've got another 2-3 months to. There's a few things I want to put in place with the business. Read the Buy Back Your Time book recently, Dan Martell, and I found that to be very, very useful. I mentioned that I've got a personal assistant, and she's amazing, and she now monitors my emails and does my scheduling.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably, looking back, one of the mistakes I made was not doing that earlier. So I got the admin sorted of the business, the project management, and then the sales, and I left this till just recently. But if I was doing it again, I would do this a lot earlier, just because you don't. Yeah, it's so good being able to get to your emails and not having 50 unread messages that you don't want to read. And and I am someone who really needs help with scheduling and organising my life. But so that has been a really good addition to the business that we've brought in. There's a few more little things there that we can get her to start doing, so that I'm really freed up from the day to day. It's been a great 10 days here. My team, who are absolutely amazing, have taken care of pretty much everything since I've gone. So I thought that was a good little test, good litmus test of how things are going. So now the plan is to expand out a little bit. I'd like to get to a few more areas. I've divided the country up into 10 regions, and the 5-year plan is to have a presence in each of those regions. We're in 5 now. I want 5 more, and it's sort of changed a bit. It's amazing the thinking that you have, and they talk about the manifesting and all that. But I remember, just sort of reflecting back, when I first started, I envisioned having a business where I had a job going continuously, right, one after the other.
Right.
And that came to pass, and then I started imagining having 3 jobs going at once, and that happened. And then I started imagining having a project manager to help me with the jobs in Christchurch, and that transpired. And after that, I was like, I'll blow this. I'm thinking way too small. Let's just go all out.
Yeah.
So it was starting to imagine and think about a company that covers the full country, right? a full national presence, and now we're in 5 cities, and it's just amazing how they talk about how that stuff happens, and it's really true. Things have changed a little bit now though. With the vision, it's now more. We went back to that collaboration, going back to collaboration that we talked about. It's now not a national presence, but it's a national presence with key partners in each of the regions who have a equity stake in the business.
Yeah.
And then my role is just to train and help develop the key partners. That's where we want to be.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it is interesting, the manifestation thing, and I think it can get a bit woo-woo. It can get a bit like left, sort of like gypsy-like, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
I mean, call it goal setting, call it planning, call it whatever you want to call it, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
absolutely, without doubt, got value.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think there's a lot of, I don't know, it's just like maybe the process of directing energy at a goal that helps.
Yep.
The awareness, the clarity, I don't know, it's just interesting.
Something does happen.
100%.
Yeah. And it's not just imagining it. It's seeing it and feeling it and smelling it. And I've got a vision of, myself and the 10 other business owners over in Fiji after we get the 10th person on board. And
Yeah.
it's a bit like this actually. The coconut trees and the monkeys are there, and
Yeah.
the coconuts are here and the mojitos are there. And you sort of, you hear it, you see it, you taste it.
Totally.
And I very much think there is something in this.
I think so, yeah. It's actually one thing I've gone back to recently with a few of the coaching clients is to develop that dream state, right? So
Yep.
that sort of experience that you'll have in 2-3 years' time. It's not like a year thing, it's more like a multi-year thing, but it's getting really clear on it. Like really, really clear.
Very clear.
Where are you going to be living? Like what's the office look like? What's the team look like? Service offerings, like what does the office smell like?
Yep.
Getting really
Yeah.
granular about it. It's something that I did a few years ago with a coach I was working with, and man, that image is still like burned into my brain.
Right.
It's
Yep.
amazing, and it's almost like the more clarity you get over that, the more sticky it is.
Yep. Something else I've sort of been thinking about and doing is, I've realised, it's not just about you now, it's about the team. It's not just you and your family, but it's about now how much impact can I have. The business is at a point now where we're fine financially. My family and I are sweet, but like, how do we now help other people do what I've done, just break out of this of the system a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going back to my why actually, is having a clear why, and that's a big thing for me now, is how can I make the most positive impact with this business. So if you've got and once you start thinking like that, how much positive, like how many people can you help, that's a game changer. That's a real game changer. You can handle stuff, and it gives you motivation again. Like sometimes if you start, I've been grinding for over 10 years now, and you start, sometimes it's possible to lose a bit of motivation once you sort of sit back and think, oh well, I'm okay now financially. So you need a new goal, a new aim, and it's switching to that impact on how much, like who can you help, who can you show what you've done, who can you help to do what you've done, and that's been a really, really cool thing.
That's cool.
Hence why I'd like people with equity shares and little profit shares that we're just starting to bring in now with my project managers. It's wonderful.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more and more of this. I think there's this JV movement and this partnership model. Like I feel like there's an emergence of it, and whether it's become easier to structure now, I'm not sure. I don't know if technology's maybe made it easier, or if it's just like more front of mind. But even myself, having done a couple of different JVs over the last few months, I don't know. It's just not as daunting, or I don't know. I think it's just easier now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Choosing the right people.
Or maybe it's just finding the right people.
Yep.
That it is easy and it's not a drag or a burden.
And maybe it is easier to find the right people now.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Or maybe because you've developed yourself more over the last few years, the right people are coming to you.
That's true too. Yeah.
That's a big part of it all. If you want to have people working with you and
That's right.
collaborating or working with you in the business,
Yeah.
you need to be at the top of your game.
100%.
Gazelles don't want to work for, so lions don't want to work for gazelles, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They want to eat them.
Yeah.
So, so it's, how do you develop yourself? And look, you just put yourself in someone's shoes. Like, would you want to go and work for someone who's not inspiring, who's not congruent to their beliefs?
That's it. That's exactly
and they're the people we're wanting to attract.
100%.
They're the people we need on the bus.
Yeah.
So I think it is a big part of it is starting with working on yourself. Hence why health is such a priority for me, and health, wealth, relationships. It's getting those right in yourself first, and then you're able to help others. But you need to be at a high game yourself first.
Yeah, you got to get your own affairs in order, don't you?
Yep.
I'm a big fan of that whole aspirational thing, right? Like having a competency that people are attracted to. And this job I'm hiring for at the moment, I had an applicant who's a standout performer, and he's asked some really good questions that have put me on the spot and been like, okay, those are some good questions.
Yes.
Those are forcing me to get clear on that role, the progression steps, the opportunities that it might lead to. Like, these are not surface level questions, right? These are not like, what time do I start on the day? This is like, what do you see this role turning into, or what could it turn into? Like, what is the vision? What is the why?
Yes.
And he's done enough research, this particular candidate, that he's got a good base level understanding of me and the business, but also like those are some good questions.
And this is the guy that sent the video through to you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's it's an interesting process.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you using AI for currently?
We're really getting involved with the AI. We've started with helping with the project managers. So, for example, before the start of a job, we need to order the paint, and we need to work out what type of paint we're using, what's the coverage rate, how many square meters are there. So in the past, we'd have to go through and calculate that all ourselves. Now we throw in the detail, the data sheet of the paint that has the theoretical cover rate. We'll throw in the quote that has the square meterage, and we'll ask AI to calculate it for us and put it in a nice little simple table.
Really?
Actually, now we don't even put in the data sheets. We just give the URL for the Dulux or the Resine site and say, get the data sheet from there.
Wow.
Of this type of paint. So that's amazing. I used it a lot for emails.
Yeah.
Someone has asked me to write a reference, I'll do that, and it gets 90% of the way. I use it to develop a sustainability policy, health and safety policy, a lot of things. But they're the basics. But now we're looking into some really cool things. One of them is a knowledge base that we're starting to build, where we put in all of the data sheets that we've got of the different paints. We'll put in all of the information available online, master painters from Resine, from Dulux, and teaching the AI all about paint and all the knowledge that we require. And then if any of our guys need any information, they can give this a call, and an AI will tell them.
Wow, that's cool.
How long does it take to dry, or how long before I can recoat this paint? And it will say, okay, this is 2 hours. What do I need to do to prep this substrate before I put this paint on? And it will say, and it's fantastic.
That's
absolutely
cool.
Fantastic. And in any language.
Yeah, right.
So we've got some Filipinos, we've got someone from Nepal, and we've got 2 guys from India. Their English is okay, but not great. And some of them, the English is a little bit struggling sometimes to understand exactly what's going on with these data sheets, as you can expect.
Yeah.
So they are going to be able to ask this AI anything in their language.
Amazing.
I've already started translating our toolbox talks into Nepali, to Tagalog, and Urdu, which is the language, the Muslim language in India, and they get it all sent through in their language so that they can understand it, and I think that's really good. I mean, it's one thing doing training for these guys and health and safety, but it's another thing checking that they actually understand what you're saying.
Yes.
So this is going to be an absolute game changer.
Totally. Yeah, if you can feed in what's in your head, what's company policies, what's technical data, if you can merge all that information and then couple that with their own native language,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I mean, even to the point now where we've got avatars made of ourselves. So my project managers and I have recorded ourselves talking into a platform, and now we can upload anything we want to say, and it will send out a video message to whoever with us actually talking in Tagalog. And we've just built this, we've just developed, we've had Brett help us with this. And when I get back, we will be sending out the first video, and we will document it and see the reaction of the guys, which I think will be quite cool, because it really does look like that it will look like that I've gone away and spent 10 days learning Tagalog in Sri Lanka. They will be very shocked. It's absolutely incredible.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
What did that one initial task save you in terms of time, like say with the merging of the paint data and the plan and pricing out how much paint to use?
Yeah.
Say on a standard project, whether it's whatever a standard project is, right? Like how much time would that save you?
A small amount, but it's, I'd say probably by the time you crawl through the data sheets and you do the calculations, half an hour.
Oh yeah.
But then you've got, it puts it in a nice little table as well that you can just cut and put onto the job. So there's another 20 minutes. It's small, but you times that by 10 projects over the week.
That's it.
In each of the different 5 regions, it's very significant.
And that's it, right? And that's what we're all after, right? If you multiply out the payroll, plus that's not probably an energy producing task, right?
Yes.
Like nobody's going to get jacked up doing that. And so if you've replaced that with something else, perfect.
Yeah, and so, they talk about AI is not going to replace us, but companies using AI are going to have a massive advantage. So it's definitely worthwhile looking into it. I used to think until 6 months ago that the painting trade was going to be absolutely fine for a long time. Like no AI robots are going to come and start painting. That was until I saw the Optimus 3 robot that Elon Musk is developing, which is unbelievable. The 90% dexterity of the human hand in these things. And so I've seen this and I was like, well, actually that could be trained to sand skirting boards and do basic painting. So look, it's going to be an amazing 5 years, and as long as you embrace it and be ahead of everyone else, I think that's going to be the key.
Yeah, and again, that curiosity word comes to mind, right?
Yes.
Not being fearful, but more curious around what's out there, what's possible.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, and every technology can have positives and negatives.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are lots of challenges that are going to need to be addressed as this technology is brought more and more in, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It's here, and it's just going to get crazier and crazier. But the benefits that it's going to have for business owners and for managers and for everyone actually it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, isn't it? I think when you merge all these different things that seem to be all percolating at once, if you look at the buy back your time framework, if you look at that, if you look at AI, if you look at collaboration and, increased ability to create content, like there's just a lot of different things that seem to be all developing at the same time.
Yes, and I think that buying back your time is just even more important now because
100%.
you need to be able to look and see what's happening. If you're busy in the business working your ass off, you won't have time to sort of see, okay, well, how can I bring this in? What's happening like looking at those macro trends, which is going to be extremely important. Yeah, over the next few years.
100%.
Very exciting.
Yeah. You got a favourite book or two?
I think that Buy Back Your Time actually is
It is,
really
it's one of them, right?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
really one of them. Psycho-cybernetics was
Oh,
really
yeah?
good. Just being able to, what we were talking about, having that goal and how things sort of fall into place once you do have that clear goal.
Yeah.
I found that to be quite useful.
Did you read or listen to that? Do you remember?
I read that.
You read it, yeah.
Yeah, I would say they are the two
Cool.
books
Yeah, I like
that came
it.
to mind.
Yeah, I wonder when we'll get to the point. We may already be at that point, but it'd be cool if you could get a book summary. Well, I guess you can already do it on ChatGPT.
Yes.
But I don't know, maybe just heighten it a little bit, enhance it a little bit.
Yes.
Because like that book, for example, I just struggled to get through it.
Right.
I
yep.
read it, but I couldn't really tell you anything about it.
Right.
And
Yep.
so a summary and how to, actually I've done this. I've asked it to give me the action steps for how you would apply there's another book I've been into at the moment called 10x is easier than 2x.
Right. Yes.
And
Yep.
so I was like, look, based on what you know about me, based on the framework of this book, how would I create an action plan for the next 6 weeks?
Yes.
And it spits out like, okay, cool. Here's what I'd suggest. How does that sound? And I'm like, fuck, you just nailed it.
Yes, and that's so exciting when you can start getting it to tailor to your individual personality and what you're into, and I think that's going to be very, very useful. And yeah, I think if you can have something like that will do that for the books, like summarize this based on who I am and how I learn as well.
That's it.
You know, they talk about the different learning styles. I think AI will be able to really help. And you sort of hope that the school system is going to
Embrace it.
embrace this. But yeah, look, even if they don't, you'll be able to do it yourselves.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's another really good point, and it may have come up in a previous conversation, but how AI can really help with, like, I don't know what I've got, but it's definitely some form of difficulty comprehending information,
Right.
retaining information, and I guess just understanding information. And so you can really use it to help either condense or expand,
Yeah.
which I found really helpful. It's like, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you please
Yeah.
either dumb it down or elaborate on that?
It's funny, because there's sometimes where I'm like that. I just can't focus and can't
Yeah.
take knowledge in. And then there's other times that I just absorb everything.
I'm
And
dialed.
I can remember everything dialed in.
Yeah.
You're in that certain state.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes back to sleep quality, or
Maybe.
I do notice, you know, after a good sleep, you are like that. But yeah, I'm pretty similar, and sometimes I sort of am unable to bring in information, and it is strange. But yes, if you've got the ability to summarize things in a way that you will be able to understand it, and I think that's where you're teaching your AI more and more. The more that you use it, the more it's going to learn who you are, and then the more it's going to be able to cater for you.
Yeah.
Very exciting space.
Yeah.
So we're building that platform at the moment, with the knowledge base and the health and safety side of things, and then we're going to be using it in our company over the next few months, and then look at taking it to the rest of the industry, I'm very excited about that.
Love that.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And so the training part of it, the training in the different languages to the different learning styles, I think that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then you can also merge it with other types of training and development, right?
Yep.
So applying different book information, different theories. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
I think all boats are going to rise.
I think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good, my friend. Well,
Yeah.
I think we've done it.
So podcast-wise,
Podcast
200,
wise.
well
Yeah,
done.
200.
This is the end of the
This is-
200th podcast.
this is it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah,
and where to from here?
We're going to continue going. So there's a commitment to do it for the next 8.5 years or 7.5 years.
Right. Yep.
So right through to the end of the challenge in 2032.
Yes.
So keep an eye out for, I don't know how many episodes that'll be. At the moment, we're doing 1 episode a week. And that seems like a good cadence. It seems like a good volume.
Yes.
I think the 2 a week was maybe a bit hectic. So
Right. Yep. Yep.
we'll see what happens. But the podcast will continue. I've enjoyed documenting the journey, the growth, and even this, like you talk about with baby number 2 due, this is a moment in time that's been captured, right? So you'll be able to look back on this and be like, oh, that's right. I remember that moment, early March 2025.
Yep.
So,
Podcast in the rain with the monkeys.
yeah, getting eaten alive by bugs. And,
Trying not to swat.
so that's cool. You know, I love the idea of a time capsule to document a present moment. I find that's
Wonderful.
cool. Yeah, and just the amount of people I've met through the podcast, it's been really awesome. So keep on going. Keep trying to be better, you know, try to continue with that 1% better theory of like just incrementally getting better and better. Really happy with the production quality at the moment. That's great.
Yep.
Yeah, just having some fun with it, right? Just being curious.
Yep.
Just going with the flow.
Oh, amazing, mate. Well, it's such an achievement, 200 podcasts, so well done with that. And
Yeah,
yeah, we'll keep looking forward to hearing some more.
totally. Sounds good.
Good
Thanks,
stuff,
buddy.
mate. All good.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. Since we last spoke on the podcast, a lot's happened. We've been in Sri Lanka the last couple of days.
Yeah.
You've been hanging out with the boys. One of many things I really respect about you is how you just locked in on this trip. You heard about it, you committed, you just sent it within probably 24, 48 hours of hearing about it.
Yeah.
What made you do that? Like, walk me through that thought process where you're just like, yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, I think we've talked about it a wee bit on this trip, but I was a little bit, I think I lost myself somewhere along the last 9 years of Paramount. It became a little bit of, am I doing everything to keep other people happy rather than doing the things that I like to do and I'm good at? And so when you threw that out, it was the right chance. I said yes to you 100%, and then I had to go convince my wife. It worked. But no, my wife's awesome, so she was keen as. She's like, you do what you got to do. I'm like, rad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, this is a good opportunity. Let's do it.
Yeah, so it was a combination of like timing, stars aligning,
Yep.
just everything working
yeah.
together. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, stars aligning.
Did you ever have any fear? Like you knew me, like you knew like of a couple of the guys, like you knew Pete a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it.
I think my wife had more fear of like how many people I knew and how many people knew maybe my personality, and like, so I think there was a few funny conversations leading up with Ron Dog and a few of the boys of this, like, what are we expecting on this trip? Does everyone know I can make a joke that sometimes goes offensive, but I don't mean it to be? Yeah, my wife asked many times, like, so are you actually good with this? Like, you feel good? I'm like, 100%.
Yeah.
So, no, I figured worst case scenario, I would just ditch everyone and go have adventures on my own. So,
Yeah, nice.
but ends up everyone's a legend, so there's no point in doing that.
So good.
Yeah.
I love that. Since we last caught up on the podcast, there's been so much change. Like, it was about 18 months, maybe 12 to 18 months ago, I guess. Like, you were in no way about to change anything with Paramount last time we spoke on the podcast.
Yeah.
So since then, there's been some pretty big shifts happen.
Couple.
Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I had, and we definitely hadn't made contacts, but I think maybe we had talked about I was going up to Wellington doing a bit of exploration with one of my staff members that I get along well with, and we were going to go find some new suppliers, and stuff had started working out up that way. And then while I was up there, I caught up with a business I almost bought, but a company, Chester's, had bought them before I could get to them. And so I thought, I should go catch up, say g'day, keep connections rolling, never burn a bridge. And when I left that guy, he ended up calling his boss. And then a week later, that boss called me from Chester's and said, would Paramount be up for sale? We want to be in the areas you're in. We'd love to have your staff and your knowledge and everything we're doing. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, nah, I was like, look, everything's for sale. Let's have some conversations.
Yeah.
I think our last conversation was really around how much respect and time I have for all the staff and how much they mean, and I wanted to make sure they got taken care of during that whole scenario. So, especially emotionally, they'd been brought in. So how does those emotions work over? And there's a few very silent months of conversations, and then, October 1st, 2024, Paramount got handed over to Chester's, so that was a whole new scenario. Yeah.
And what was like the overarching like emotion or feeling that you had, like both leading up to that date and then like afterward? Like was it like success? Was it relief? Was it like anxiety? Was it like regret? Like, what was it?
No regrets. I think I think it felt done naturally. I think maybe Paramount had gotten to a beast that was almost too big for me to control. I learned a lot through the journey of Paramount, but I think I got to this point where I needed to learn these things, and so now it's like whatever comes next, I'll get to learn that if there is a next. But no, I think actually I felt lost is the last emotion I've been holding on to of like I did this. I'm not very good at reflecting in a way of like maybe self-praise, but reflecting, I'll be like, oh, we'll never do that again, but then it carries on, and never really reflected how big Paramount got in 9 years. We were pushing, we had big goals, and I always thought we'd have it for 40 years, make it wickedly passive and have some fun. So I don't know. I think I'm still processing that quite a bit.
Still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's relatively a short amount of time ago, right? Like, it's not
True.
It's only 4 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago. Like,
it's not that long.
Not really, no.
No. And there's been a lot, I think, like Chester's ended up, something happened in our market where one of the big competitors liquidated, and so they bought another business at the same time, and they needed to get them transferred over to their system, and it's been pretty chaotic for everyone, but overall they've nailed it. They've made everyone feel really comfortable.
Nice.
Somehow they've kept me around, and we're all happy to be doing that. So.
Yeah.
But I think this trip is perfect timing, like stars aligned. I don't know, living in a world that's made to have fun in. It's like, this is awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's funny the reaction or the response that I get when I talk about serendipity, right? Like, it can either like resonate and land in a way that people take it and run with that, or it's just like a total brick wall, or like what do you say?
Yeah.
What are you up to tomorrow? Like,
Yeah.
it's either something that's like, no, I feel that there is serendipity, and I think
Totally.
that's a thing, or it's like either falling on deaf ears.
Yeah. Or everyone discusses, like, is this a preset motion world made for me? Because everyone feels serendipity at times. And sometimes it's is everything against me, or is everything for me? And what is the coincidence, the energy that connects us all? Like, it's,
Totally.
yeah. Even this, like you were saying, we came on this trip together, and then we all started cracking up, like, oh, we're all connected through these funny little two-piece circles.
Yeah.
There's been some hilarious elements
Yeah,
of how we're connected.
Is that whole like fate versus destiny thing, right? Like, you're gonna always end up in the same place regardless of the route that you take, or is there going to be varying paths? Are you in control, or are you not in control?
Yeah. Shoot. That's deep.
Some deep questions. We don't know though,
No,
right?
we don't know. It's like, this is what we do well. Every time we get together, it goes way too deep, way too fast.
But as I say, I'd much rather it go deep and talk about the weather, right?
100%. We're both. We talked about that on one of our tuk-tuk rides. It's like, it's just so fun when we just get way too deep on a convo, and it's like, oh man, we back out. Like, who's gonna cry first?
I'm not crying.
No.
Are you crying?
No,
I'm not crying.
No.
Would you say, like, when you first started Paramount though, like, was it just one store? How were you doing it? Like, what was the first lever that you pulled? Like, what was the first
lever
transaction? Or like, how did it start?
I guess the first lever was Scott, who's my uncle, like married into the family, knew what I was doing in New York, and said, look, was a conversation sitting by water like this, and he's like, plumbing companies suck. Do you want to see what we can do?
Was he in the business? No, he's a pilot. Right?
No. Oh no, an aircraft engineer.
That's right.
Yeah, and so he said, what was it? He was like, oh yeah, I've thought about this. I've been shopping at Plumbing World. They're horrible. Do you want to do some investigations? So I spent a couple of weeks looking around, like, there's a business.
Hang on a minute. I've got so many questions here.
Okay.
So he's an aircraft engineer, but he was just buying shit for his house?
Sorry,
or?
no. So he had a housing company on the side.
Oh, yeah,
And so he was building homes, doing specs and selling them.
So working with a number of different suppliers. And one of the weakness is, or like one of the...
service from plumbing suppliers.
Yeah.
So I did some digging, and I've got some other family that are in drainage, and talking with them and being around that closely, saw that, their service sucks. What can we do? I spent 10 years living in the States and saw service done to the highest level possible.
Yes.
And it's like, man, New Zealand's terrible at giving a good smile and a wave. A
Yeah.
simple hello goes a really long way. So
Yeah.
we're like, cool, let's do that. And so we're like, all right, so there's two options. Is that we go invest in $1 million idea and open a massive store and just kill it, or we go and just invest a little bit and slowly grow it. And then destiny decided for both of us. We worked for Virgin Australia. Virgin Australia pulled out of New Zealand.
Yeah.
Had to go get a new career.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
different company with a different company, and I just moved back from the States and moving with a bunch of kids and baby on the way, or actually a baby just being born and other things. Is like, man, I don't have money to invest. Like, this is going to be crazy. So I think we bought $2,500 worth of stock each, and then I went and found someone to buy it from us, and then we bought $5,000 the next month, and then we bought $10,000 the next, and 30 and 40, and we just kept. So without any banks, we just made sure we used our suppliers because they've got 50-day terms.
Yeah.
Buy it on the 1st and pay for it 20th the following.
Yeah.
And we just, cycled that. And then a couple of years in, we'd got a few buyout offers, and so I ended up buying Scott out because they kept trying to buy his shares and keep me in the business.
Yes.
Which was cool. I just had worked harder in the business and people knew my name a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Scott was always behind the scenes, just digging into it. And so, I bought Scotty, and then, a couple of years later, we grew enough that someone bigger than us decided they needed us out of the way.
That's an interesting journey, right? Like to go from a couple of grand a month to, was it 5, 6 locations you had in the end?
We did, We ended up shutting one just before getting bought out, just because it was a dud and we were going to reinvest it into somewhere else. But we never got the option.
What would be the one takeaway from that journey if you had to distill it down to one or two things?
Well, I think so. Like, I love my wife because she just sits there listening to my rambles and like puts a little bit of insight in, and I trust her. So But I was just sitting there talking to her, and she said that like after this, it's like everyone keeps asking what's next, and we've got a couple other companies that we are slowly starting to grow, and we'd already had them, but I think she saw that I was a little bit tired and a little bit exhausted after it, just from where it had got to, and just my problem with procedures that I'll work on for the next things. But then she said, when everyone keeps asking you what's next, you get this little look on your face of like disappointment or sadness, and like, what's going on there? I was like, I don't know. I just was I lucky? Did I just get lucky with this business? I'm not that clever. Maybe I'm not that good at business. Like, there's almost this like self-doubt came in, and she's like, no, you just know how hard it is to take a business from full ground zero, no backup, no support, and get it all the way to the level you did. And so she's like, I think you're protecting yourself from that energy, that right now that's not what you need. And so my takeaway is like, it's really hard to take a business from zero to hero. And you never quite feel like you're at hero because you're just deep in it, working so hard all the time. But it's worth it. I think, there's the old saying of like, what's the idiom where like it's never easy, but only some people try it and get it going. Otherwise, if it was easy, everyone would do it. That's what I was looking for.
Yes.
But it's never easy, and it's only the few people who are tenacious enough or desperate enough to make it work that they'll do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think anyone can do it, but I think it's not going to be easy for anyone ever. I've never heard anyone come away from business saying, "Man, it's a piece of cake." It's like,
No, I don't think I've ever heard that either.
yeah.
Is there, that theory about like the chip on your shoulder thing, like the motivation and like the drive is created through like either one of two ways. It's either like the chip on the shoulder or like the desire to prove people wrong. Do you resonate with that at all, or was your motivation more like intrinsic or more like just, I don't know, organic?
Yeah. I'm sure there's like, I think we might have even talked about this last time too, but ego like is one of those ones that like, it's not a bad thing. Like, we all know the asshole who's got a wicked ego and we're all like, oh God, here he comes again, or she. But it's like, I think ego can also be a great motivation. It's like, shoot, I want to be this person. I think I am this person, therefore I now have to have an outcome. I personally think that's what it was. Like I never wanted to be. Oh, actually, no. My biggest ego was making sure my family was taken care of. Like the minute I had my first child and got married, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta sally up and get this done.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but also, it's like I don't want people to think of me being anything worse than I am or anything better than I am. I just wanted to do well and prove I could do well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
What about people, either like content creators or like aspirational, like people out there, like either like business people, authors, entrepreneurs, like who do you sort of look to and be like, yeah, this is cool. It's like this person's like got a good amount of value, or like his attributes from his person,
Yep.
persons that you like.
So there's this podcaster, David Mouse, who's real good.
No way.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You should check him out.
What do you like about him?
Yeah, I like the questions.
If you're gonna go down that wormhole,
yeah,
I'm gonna keep digging.
yeah. No, I think like you and I talk well. Like I enjoy the questions, the insight. I actually appreciate what you do well is that you're willing to try things, whether you think they'll be a winner or not, or you've heard people doing things like you're not embarrassed to go, oh, everyone's doing that, I'll do something different. Like, oh, everyone's doing that, why? And then make sure people know, like, it's actually worth it. Yeah, so I think, to me, that's something that I find interesting, because I'm a person who, that's the trend, and I'll be like, I don't want to be trendy, and so I'll pull away. And it's like, trends aren't bad. Trends are connection points and energy points and whatever we've got going on that makes humans want to hang out with each other. So
But that's interesting too, though, right? Like I have often felt the need to zig when others are zagging. Like I've often felt the need to like go against the grain, and so it's not like a bad or a good thing. It's just like I just have never resonated with like the crowd, and so like I've often felt the need to go against that. And you know, one of the main things with this podcast is like to try and like put a stake in the ground and be like, no, like there's a room in New Zealand for like people that are doing stuff, and like people that are like pursuing challenges and quests that are like hard, and like they're on a mission.
yeah,
And it's really, you know, like, especially after having lived in North America, like going against the tall poppy thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love people winning, right? Like
Totally.
I hate
Yeah.
the whole cutting people down the day.
yeah.
I don't like that.
No, and it's funny because everyone in New Zealand I've ever met has said the same, but somehow it's so intrinsic in our culture that we're all still cutting the tall poppy down.
But you know, the fucking weird thing is that I myself have been guilty of it.
Yeah, fully.
And that's the real shocking thing.
Yeah, like historically though, like because I don't think I've ever heard you cut a tall poppy.
I mean, you know, I can't think of an example, but
Yeah, give us names.
You want names, examples, dates?
yeah, dates.
Full
We
names,
can call them out.
passport numbers.
Yeah.
Like I just have found myself, I've caught myself falling into that trap of like, you know, fuck this guy. Like he's got the race car, for example. Like,
Yeah, okay.
right? And it's
Okay.
like, it's not good.
No,
It's not good at all.
okay.
But it's just
But
interesting.
is that go back to the ego, and that's the ego trying to make you feel good, so then you can go like, I want the race car, I don't have it.
I don't know what it is, Nick. Like I just feel like sometimes you can get a bit consumed by the environment. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
like.
Because I think I was raised to like not want what others have, which is like what do you call it? Like jealousy or
Envy.
envy. There's a good biblical word I think on that one.
What's
But
the
it's-
other one? The contentment. Oh,
Yeah,
comment. No.
Yeah, but anyway, like I think that's motivation. It's like, but I always like I much prefer to hang out with people 10, 20 years ahead of me, because then I'm
100%.
like, oh, I can get there in 10, 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
but then I've had to learn like, oh, there's a couple of people I've started hanging out with, and they're 10 years younger than me, and I'm like, oh, like I feel like an old man.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, they want what I have. That's wicked. Like
Yeah.
that's success to me. Where it's like I've got someone, I'm holding onto their curtail, and
Yes.
then they're holding onto mine, but I'm
Yeah.
pulling them, and they're pulling me, and like that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
that's generational success. That's
Totally. Yeah.
so. I don't know. I don't think like I don't know where that goes and where that leads, and it's so silver lined, but it's also a sweet image to keep going and chasing.
Yeah, I think it never feels good being like contradictory like that, but
Yeah.
I just feel that it's about the way that you go about it also. You know, like I think there's different ways to,
Yeah, totally. And
to look at.
that was actually like a big one. Like Chris and I realized, like Paramount selling has opened us up to a whole new world, a whole new lifestyle. And so we had to sit down and we're like, what's our MO? Like, what do we do? Like, what do we love? How do we make our decisions from here on out? And we sat down and like, man, like 2 people in our life took massive shots on backing us, and we fulfilled, but also that was the shot that broke it and got us going. So it's like, we want to meet people who are good people, who like other people, who want to take care of this world and humans, and we're going to back them. Like, we don't need to back the big business that's going to be a $60 billion business and we've got wicked investments and let's do that. And we don't need to do just the safe investments. And it's like, there's money there on the side to like invest in things that might fail, but we're going to give someone a shot who's never had a break. And that is the coolest thing of the Paramount sale for us. Like, man, we can actually start giving back to the community that we love of people around us.
I also don't think those things are mutually exclusive either, though. Like I feel that with those backings and like, you know, good people, good energy, good connections, good partnerships. Like I feel like that's likely going to lead to good outcomes.
Totally.
I could be wrong. I don't have enough like reference data on it, but I just feel that's a good way to go.
Oh, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth like.
Let's do the pretty women's for everyone, eh?
Pretty woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like take someone and make them feel good about themselves, and then they'll go on to do great things.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's all we ever need is confidence, and confidence comes from people telling us we're awesome. And
well, like this book I'm reading at the moment, the not who but how. No, sorry, not how but who.
Okay.
Or
something.
whatever it is. It's basically just saying like get the right person.
Yep.
And don't worry about the how. Like back the person, back the jockey. Don't worry about the horse. Like it'll work itself out if you back the right person and if you get the right person in the right seat.
Yeah.
If you find the right person that can counteract or compensate for your own weaknesses and like fill those gaps, then good things will happen. So it's a similar
good
thing.
jockey's not going to choose a bad horse to ride, right? Because it's got a name and reputation. So
That's
if you get a
right.
good person, they're going to understand what they're wanting to get into. So now do you have the potential to back them to do the thing there? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's one theory.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck with that book.
Yeah. Sum it up.
I'm getting bitten.
Me too.
death here.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
We
did not
Thanks,
prepare for
Ron.
this.
Let's just
Rondo.
interrupt the podcast here with a quick
Shout out to Cintronella.
What's your predictions for the next year and a half? If you had to guess.
Predictions on what?
Life, business, career, happiness, travel.
Man.
You've got a lot of travel going on.
I've got a lot of travel coming up, which I think is so I don't know. I think maybe I talked about it in our last podcast, but my deep thinking spot, because I love philosophy and overthinking, is the shower. That peace of mind when I've only got a couple thoughts on. And I was just thinking like, oh, I'm about to do a podcast. Let's have a yarn. I was like, this is actually the happiest I've been in a very long time on this trip.
Podcasting with me.
Yeah, podcasting with you every time. Not like, every time. But no, it's the laughing, it's the adventure, it's the meeting new people. It's like, okay, but why? And like break it down. It's not just being in Sri Lanka. The people in Sri Lanka are so good. They're the greatest people I've met in another country. Like Kiwis are nice, but we're isolated. Sri Lankans are nice and happy. But
Very happy.
no, I think it's everything. It's the perfect mix. Missing the family, but so they just need to come on adventures, and we've got a lot of adventures coming up this year. But yeah, so predictions for the year are reset, renew, and go have some fun. So, yeah.
Reset, renew, more travel.
Is that
Work away on the side projects that you've got going.
totally?
Yeah.
Yep. And it's like man, I hope I kill it for Chester's, and I hope we win some big jobs and have some fun. And
Yeah, nice.
if they decide they need to do something else, okay, I'll bow out. And if
Yeah.
it works really well, like the things I've seen so far,
Yeah.
again, it's funny, it's another Nick who is taking over on the board.
Yeah.
Like Nick Chester's about to step up and do the thing. It's like, rad, that's cool, man. I want to back him and see him do well. He's a good person. His
Yes.
family are good. Like, I'm there, but yeah, I know it's also hard when you've got other old owners sitting in your business. And, yeah.
That's so cool. I can't wait to do another episode in a year or so's time and just like reflect back on this moment. This trip, being in Sri Lanka, having, you know, like a 9-year chapter sort of come to an end, or like transitioning out of that, and like just seeing what happens over the
Generational
next
chapter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I'm absolutely like stoked to have got to know you more over this trip. Like, it's been awesome. So,
Yeah, it's been a good hangout, man.
so thank you for your time. Like,
Yeah,
it's been
bro.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
See you, bro.
Andrew Farrow, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much, David. Nice to be here in Sri Lanka.
Amazing.
Been a long time since episode 53, so it's nice to be back.
Do you recall what we were up to last time?
Last time we did the podcast, you did not have video, it was audio only.
Ah,
You had some Rode microphones, it was your new gear plugged
Yeah.
into the laptop. It was up at your apartment 404,
yeah.
Barbados Street, and we were fizzing. I think
We were fizzing.
I think we had an Arepa, the Mind drink,
Yeah, okay.
and
All right.
today we've got rosé. So
Now we've got a rosé, so same colour but different
boys on
drink.
tour.
It's awesome to have you here. I love how this trip has come about. I love the composition of the people that are here. What made you commit to the trip? What made you see like the itinerary, the price, everything, and be like, yep, I'm into that?
That's a cool question actually, because Sri Lanka is not a place that was on my hit list of places to go. It's probably not somewhere I ever would have come unless given this opportunity. So when the opportunity did come up, and it was through kind of your networking group, like most of the boys here I've met through your breakfasts and through your lunches, and it was too good to pass up. 10 days in Sri Lanka. I did a bit of research. My wife grew up in India, and she has no desire to go back there. She has told me that it's very busy, very dirty, very crowded, rubbish everywhere, and chaotic, and just no desire to go back. So that, I guess I was likely to put Sri Lanka into that same sort of basket. But then I did a little bit of research and saw there's lots of touristy spots here. The huge rock we went to in Shangri-La, that was amazing. And,
So good.
yeah, and I mean the beaches yesterday and today we've been to the two nicest beaches, right?
Amazing.
Golden sand, it's like Golden Bay.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's like Kaiteri,
Yeah.
and the water's 28 degrees. You can just stay in there as long as you like, bobbing around in the surf. And the snorkeling today was epic. Saw so many different fish.
Absolutely amazing.
So yeah, it just there's 9 of us here, as you know. 5 of the guys I knew, 4 I didn't. And it's been awesome to get to know those other 4, all good sorts.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you get on a trip like this. You know, a bunch of guys wanting to explore the world and try new things. And there's been a few adventures along the way,
Yeah.
a few practical jokes, a few
Few gifts.
few gifts.
Few gifts given.
Let's talk about the tuk-tuks. Has anyone yet described the 4 looks that we've got going with our tuk-tuks?
Not in great detail, no. So, like, just for reference, we've got 4 tuk-tuks between the team. We've got different accessories, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Like, so part of the thing was to give a gift to everyone in the group, kind of like a Secret Santa arrangement.
Yeah,
And
such a good idea.
There was no budget. It was just like get what you can get.
Yep.
And it just so happened that like whatever got given typically ended up on the tuk-tuk, right?
It was such a good idea. So, not to blow my trumpet here, but out of the 9, I think I was the most organised. I got my Secret Santa for Brett in Auckland Airport on the way through,
Yeah.
and it was a pink kiwi soft toy. Brett quickly named her Sharon from Wainui Yamata, and she promptly got strapped onto the front of the first tuk-tuk. And then shortly after that, I think Pete and I were out and we bought a rubber ducky,
Yeah.
a big blow-up floaty pool thing, and that got given to one of the other guys that got strapped down to the roof of the other tuk-tuk. And then Pete bought a big, very, very big pink fluffy bear,
Yeah.
which I promptly named Chantal and strapped on the top of mine. and then you got given Barbie. Big
Barbie.
Big
yeah.
Barbie.
Yep.
Twist and happy.
And then the statue as well.
True, the statue. It was called
45
Candy.
kilo
Yeah.
statue. Heavyweight.
A statue that big, which is riding in Nick's tuk-tuk.
Yep. So it's been
good.
It's been a
been
bit of
fun.
an adventure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been away on a trip like this before with a group of either guys or couples or?
Not with a big group. Yeah, I've been to Bali with a friend, just the two of us. I've been to Vietnam just with a friend, and Thailand with my wife and another couple. Good friends of ours.
Cool.
So yeah, the four would be the biggest. Oh, I guess actually another time we went to Thailand with our family of four and met with the rest of my family and parents. So there were 13 of us. So
Yeah,
it was
right.
a big family trip. So this is the first time, kind of a boys' trip, and it's definitely a different dynamic. And I think Sri Lanka is such a good place for this sort of trip because of the difference in rules. We've talked about a bit through the week. Like in New Zealand, we're just so restricted, right? And for good reason. New Zealand's a really safe place to be.
Yeah.
People stop at red lights. If someone walks across the pedestrian crossing, people stop and give way.
They do tend to give way.
At roundabouts, you give way to your right, and if
Yeah.
you don't, you're a bad guy. Over here, anything goes. The driving is ridiculous, but that's what makes it so much fun.
It's an interesting one, right? Like you've got your two opposing views. You've got safety
Yeah.
down one end,
Yes.
and then you've got totally
Chaos.
reckless chaos,
Yes.
rogue, no rules down the other end. And
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a right or a wrong here.
No, but for 10 days, it's really nice to dip into the chaos.
100%. Yeah, totally agree.
And it's orchestrated chaos. You see the roundabouts, and you know you have 10 or 20 cars coming from each direction, and somehow they manage to get around there and not hit each other. I mean, it's crazy.
The thing that has destroyed it a little bit for me is like I was under the impression that it all just flowed, everyone just sort of works their way out.
Yes.
However, apparently, like after talking to a few locals, apparently they do actually have quite a few crashes here.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, apparently.
We've met a couple of guys, one with a bandage, but that was ironic. Sri Lankan guy, he's got a bandage. We said, "Oh, did you fall off your scooter?" He said, yes. We said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, tourist." Tourist pull out. He hit.
Yeah.
One thing we've enjoyed here too is the local dialect. So you know, particularly Pete and I have been bouncing off each other a lot with the just very limited use of words because
Missing a few words here and there.
if you miss out, so at the
Doubling up.
hotels, the English is very good.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go on the street, the English seems quite limited. So in any normal sentence that we would say in Christchurch, if you take out 7 out of 10 words, you just get to the point faster. Train fast, dangerous.
Yeah, that's
Gets
true.
the message. Yes.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. Beach, swim, go. You know? I mean, why pad that sentence out unnecessarily when you can just hit the meaning that you're going for? And so it's when in Sri Lanka do as Sri Lankans do, I guess.
I wonder how you're going to find that adjustment period.
It might be tricky, eh?
It might be.
The other adjustment, I'm taking this big dirty slug back home as well.
Oh, yeah.
So your moustache game, you've tried your best, but in all
Yeah.
honesty, it's been a little bit lacking.
Yeah, I'm not the hairiest of me and Andrew. I did have a run-up. I did have a 7-day run-up.
Yeah.
Kind of freaked out, to be honest. Shaved it the night before leaving.
Yeah.
And, so I had to start from the
Yeah,
ground
yeah.
up.
So I think Pete and Nick and I are the only ones left. Pete's moustache got arrested the other night in the nightclub. Brett was sporting quite a good mo for quite a few days, but then for some unknown reason this morning he cut it off before we got a group photo. So
Got taken down.
yeah, maybe his got arrested too. I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know what happened there.
I think people actually are scared to go home to their family with the slug on their face. You know, it's just one of those might make the children cry moments.
If I could grow one, I'd be right into it. If I could actually grow facial hair at pace, at like an acceptable rate, I'd be all over it.
It's actually a privilege we have as men
Yeah,
to be able to muck around with this stuff that just turns up
totally.
and grow your own thing. And I started this trip with plans to do a monkey tail, which is when the moustache comes down off one sideboard, a bit of a chin strap and across.
Yeah.
And I did start it. And
What happened?
then,
You freaked out?
well, I just started feeling a bit silly. It's one thing to do it back in New Zealand during Movember. We were raising funds for prostate cancer,
Yeah.
and people get it. But when you're walking around a tourist town with this funny looking...
Do you think it's possible you overthought that?
I didn't. I just got the razor and busted a move to get this bad boy out without really thinking. I just didn't... Yeah, I think the vibe wasn't there for Make Tail.
That's reasonable.
The idea was there, and then the vibe died, so
That's totally reasonable.
chop, time to go.
What are you working on business-wise at the moment?
Yeah, so business-wise, I think last time we caught up, we were about to start building on our land in Taupō. So that project is complete, and we have tenants in there who are very happy, and that one's worked out really well. We were also, I think, we were about to settle on a couple of offices in Napier.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So that all went through. We actually, in the end, it was quite a good little deal. One of those, the larger of the offices, we gave to the builder of the Taupō property as part payment.
Okay.
So we've just got the smaller office now.
Yeah.
That was leased for 3 months up until Christmas, and it's now vacant again. So we're just looking for tenants again.
Right.
It's a little bit tricky. It's right on the pedestrian street in Napier, Emerson Street, which is like Christchurch, Cashel Mall,
Yeah.
and parking's a real problem. So it's quite a tricky space to rent.
Got it.
We did have someone looking last week who designs wedding dresses.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably an ideal location because it's just her in there, and then she had the odd client pop in and out. But it's a very cool spot. It's right above Just Jeans and opposite Barker's, and just it's right in the centre of town there. So
I guess for reference, like for anyone just tuning into this, episode, this specific segment, right? Like you're a dude that has been involved in property for a number of years. You've done so many different transactions. You've got your Forest Motor Company. You've got a car dealership. You've got property. You've got quite an interesting background. Like, why don't you just start at the start and just like give a 240-second intro, just like who you are, what's important.
Sure. Yeah, so Airwell Forest Motor Company is my main gig day to day. 40 hours a week I'm working on my car business, and proud to be a sponsor of the podcast.
Oh, it's appreciated.
One of the sponsors. So and it's reciprocal. You point clients in my direction. That's wonderful. That started. So I've only been selling cars 5 years. I've always loved cars. Always had a passion for cars. Prior to that, we had AVF Imports, which is now the current company trading as Airwell Forest Motor Company. So AVF Imports we've had for about 25 years, and for a long time we were importing things from China.
Yeah.
So.
So you've always been entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You've gone through phases of employment, contracting, property. I don't know. Like, what's the underlying theme? Like, what do you love? Like, what's the?
Yeah, I guess what I don't love is 40 hours a week stuck at a desk working for someone.
Yeah.
What I do love is the freedom that entrepreneurialism brings. So just being able to have time, and if an opportunity arises, to be able to explore that, whether it's property or a vehicle opportunity. In our business, I'm shifting our business model slightly towards consignment, which is selling cars on behalf. And we've just listed a few weeks ago, we have a 1957 Jaguar XK140, which is a stunning car. We've listed it for $240,000. And that car, right now, especially with interest rates dropping, that type of car is a great investment. So my ideal client, really, most of my clients are probably 50 to 60s and 70s males.
Yeah.
And often they have already got a decent car collection.
Yes.
And to spend $250,000 on a Jag, which is going up in value, and it's an absolute minter, you can take it to any Jag car show and come up with a price.
Yeah.
It's quite cool to be dealing with that type of product.
100%.
And that type of value.
Yeah.
Compared to, we were selling Sunny scooters, they were 50cc petrol scooters. We sold think we sold about 700 of them in the end.
Right.
So there
yeah.
are 34 in a container, so that's 20 containers.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And they actually went well. I mean, they were good.
Yeah.
But, you know, other things we bought from China weren't so good. Go-karts, you know, first day out with the kids, the wheel would fall off, so the client would bring it back and say, I don't want this. And, you know, quality with a capital K.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I mean, I always said I'd stop selling cheap Chinese rubbish and get into performance cars, so that's what I've done. So.
Yeah, I guess just for like to boost you up a little bit, right? Like you've got a property portfolio, you've got some exceptional cars, right? Like you've reached a point in life that a lot of people would aspire to, and maybe you realize that, maybe you don't. But like, I guess the point of my question is, for anyone listening that is perhaps in like earlier stages, what would you say to them? What would you say to someone like either in business or like contemplating getting into business or?
Yeah, good. So just on that, Tino from Lunches and Things, he came out the other day to look at a car and do a couple of reels. I think he's going to do a few videos for me. And having a guy like that come out, you know, young fella, energetic. I guess I wake up every day and I just, life is what it is in my situation, and you can easily take it for granted.
Yeah.
And we've been so blessed, and I'm so very grateful. Tino came out, and that boy needed a drip tray. I took him into the shed to look at the cars, and he was just falling over himself saying, bro, how do you wake up in the morning and every day know these cars are here, any one of these you can take out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess myself as well, right? Like I also kind of take it for granted, and that's one reason for asking the question is that a lot of people would be like, yeah, holy crap, like you've got a lot and more than most do, right? So that's one reason for asking the question.
So back to the question of inspiration for people starting out.
Yeah.
I would just say, go for it.
Do it.
Yeah, in terms of property, get on the property ladder as soon as you can. One saying that is popular within property investors, and sadly I didn't heed this myself, is buy well and never sell. And I think buy well, if you can buy under market or buy at market in a good time of the market. I mean, property goes up over time. So sometimes people pay, in a really buoyant market, people pay over fair market value, and in a depressed market they will buy for less. But the underlying value is quite reasonably linear. So yeah, buy well, never sell, I think, in terms of property. In terms of being a car dealer, what do I say? Don't do it. It's been a rocky road.
Yeah.
My business coach the other day said some good advice on that, and it was basically like, if you're not, just because you love cars doesn't mean you should be selling cars, and just because you love cars doesn't mean.
What do you love then?
I love cars.
Aside from cars, though.
Oh, aside from cars.
Like, what's the underlying passion, right? Like, what's the thing that if you got to choose your week, right? Like, what would you comprise that of?
Okay, I'm pretty involved in my church, so I love my church family as well.
Yeah.
So every week I've got quite a few things on to do with that. Oxford Baptist Church. I love my family, obviously.
Yeah.
And my boys, I'm very proud of. They're 19 and 21, and they are both beekeepers, working pretty close to home, and also started their own business. They've done their apprenticeship, and they've done small business schools in town. They've started their own business, Bee Bros Honey.
Yeah.
About 2 weekends ago, Caleb mentioned that they've hit 100 hives.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
It's so cool.
I think they need, I should know this, I think it's either 300 or 500 hives. I don't think 300 is enough. It might be 500 hives to quit their job and go out on their own.
Right. Yeah.
And the bee hive model is so cool because every hive produces honey, and at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, they have the opportunity to either take the honey off and sell it, or they can split the hive in half, and that's enough honey to keep both hives going. They rebuild.
Ah, interesting.
So the like in property, we talk about 7 or 8% yield being good. In beekeeping, you've got 100% yield. Actually, I think they're getting about 120, 150% because some of their hives are splitting more than once a year.
Right.
So 2 weekends ago they had 100 hives. It's quite likely in 50 weeks they'll have 200 hives. In 52 weeks' time after that they'll have 400 hives.
Interesting.
So it's really aggressive growth. And the other thing with their business that's very cool, they've entered the industry in a really terrible time. I mean, our general economy is bad, but I think clover honey, they were getting, well, not my boys, but in the industry, I think they were getting $14 a kilo for clover honey. Now it's down to about $3.50 a kilo. So a lot of beekeepers are actually tapping out and saying this just isn't worth it. So for my boys, 21 and 19 years old, full of energy and enthusiasm, they live at home, pay a bit of board, full-time jobs. You know, it's the time, and I think they're going to really reap the reward of that. They're putting in hard yards now.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're working 10 to 12 hour days and then coming home for a quick bite and then back out in the evening to do more, and then they're off all day Sunday doing their hives. So yeah, I'm actually very excited to see where they go. It's going to be good.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
If and when we sit down in a year's time, so February 2026, predictions, goals, aspirations for that time, what would you have liked to have ticked off?
1 year's time, I would just like to continue doing the same thing. So be not just a good car broker or car dealer, but be exceptional. Match up the right cars with the right people. Look after my clients. One of the things I like doing, we send a gift box if we sell a car. It's just a small thing. Gift box is like $115, but people love it. Like 2 weeks after they've got the car, I'll check in. Hey, is everything good? How you loving the car? If they're not happy, then we do what it takes to make them happy.
Yeah.
After that check-in, we send this gift box out. I just type the email and it gets sent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's cool. It's a little coffee cup warmer and a chamois and a pen and a bottle of wine and a calendar.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You're falling asleep. Bro.
So
Just-
more of the same.
Just for our listeners.
You weren't boring me.
It has been a big week. We are 7.5 hours time difference to New Zealand. We've been, some of the days, the schedule's been good. We've had like a day on, which is a full-on day, and then we've kind of had a down day. At the end here, we've got 3 nights in this one hotel, which is good.
Yeah.
But it has been hectic, right?
It's been a big trip.
To be fair, I went out for golf with these boys this morning, and I worked out that it was not going to be a happening thing after hitting the sack at 2:30 this morning. so I was back to bed for a wee pop nap. Being the oldest, I'm the oldest on the trip.
Really?
49 years old.
Wow.
I'm the responsible one on the Grand Poo bar.
You're
Actually,
the oldest. I don't know if you're the most responsible.
Definitely not. I think responsible Ron. He's the manager, isn't he?
Do you reckon? I was going to say Brett.
Brett is very responsible. And Irving, we've named HR Human Resource because he has been so good at making sure we've got our life jackets on, making sure we've got our seatbelts. I know we don't have seatbelts, but it's quite a cool dynamic. Just all the different personalities meshing together.
It is interesting.
And
Yeah.
the boys have been buzzing. Oh, one thing I really like. So Brett's been so good at organising, and we didn't do it today. But one thing he's done most mornings, he says, "Where are the boys out of 5?" And we go around. It's only a minute or two, and we say we're 5 or we're 4 or we're whatever, and why. And a few mornings everyone's been a 5. A few mornings has been a 3 or 4, and yeah, he's just so onto it. He's like, look, if someone's not a 5, maybe don't pull a practical joke on them that day. Like if they're a 3, just give them space, give them time.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
he's a good camp dad.
Camp dad. I think he is. He's not the oldest, but he is the most responsible.
I agree. Yeah, I think the 0 to 5 scale, like, it's helpful just to get a gauge. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people probably have hyped it up and said that they're a 4 or 5.
Maybe.
They're maybe not 4 or 5.
Are you looking for more honesty in these morning sessions?
Oh, absolutely, always. I think that it's a really nice sentiment. It's like a really practical way to establish where people are at. But I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's also just like a brief window into the whole day as well.
Yeah. But it allows people to know I think the very first day, or maybe second day, everyone was a 5, and you said 3.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me sharing this. And I came up to you afterwards and said, bro, what, is everything okay? And you said, oh, it's the vertigo. You just, the day before you'd climbed the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And then I think we climbed the Shangri-La rock, which was, that was crazy, like very, very steep up the side of this rock.
That was crazy.
But see, if you take that 2 minutes in the morning to actually say, then you can be a bit more empathetic towards each other and
100%.
pick each other up. And it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good metaphor for life, though, right? It's just not to like, I don't know. It's a tough balance, right? Like you never want to be overly mopey and overly like down, but also you don't want to be artificial and like overhyping yourself. So it's a hard balance.
And it's a reality of living, right? Some days you feel good, some days you don't.
Totally.
I know, a lot of people suffer from depression, and that's one of the things that they get told or taught. You're not going to feel down forever.
Yeah.
This middle line. It's the same, the opposite too. If you're bouncing along at a 5 every day, sooner or later you're going to come back and equalise.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't expect to live your life.
I don't know if you noticed in Sydney when we were there in the train station, the subway.
No, I did not come to Sydney.
Oh, you didn't? No. So there was these posters, these big billboards everywhere. It was like, not everyone has visible disabilities, but like they're wearing like a sunflower. And it's just like to illustrate the fact that just because you're not in a wheelchair or like on crutches or whatever, it's like you might be struggling with something, and it's just like just to give you a bit of a wider berth, right? It's not to say like wrap me in cotton wool, but just to point to the fact that everyone's maybe not 100%, and so like maybe not everyone's at a 5 every day.
Yes.
So I thought that was like kind of cool, right? Because before having this vertigo thing, I would have totally disregarded that and been like, fucking just whatever, right? I would not have had a lot of empathy, to be honest. And it sounds savage to say that, but having been through this last 3-4 month journey and being like seriously compromised, I'm just like, I've just got so much more compassion and empathy.
Empathy, that's very cool.
And so I see that kind of stuff, and I'm like, it makes a lot of sense.
I think the first habit, Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I think the first habit is all around that. It's a long time since I read the book, but it was basically all about just giving space for people to be who they are and act how they are without being judgmental, without saying. I think the example he used was a busy train, and there was a mum and 3 kids bouncing around being really loud.
Yes.
And he was like, can't you just tell your kids to shut up?
I know the one.
Yeah. And she just found out her husband had died of cancer or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was just this, you don't know what other people are going through.
100%.
So,
yeah, it's a good like somber reminder just to end this like segment of the podcast on, but just like to be a little bit more patient and just like a little bit more understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Box, you put me on to Buy Back Your Time, Dan Martell.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm only halfway through, but already...
It's my Bible, Andrew.
Is it your Bible?
Yeah.
So, really, really good book. I haven't implemented too much from it yet, but every time I'm mowing the lawns on 4 hectares, there's always lawns to mow, or vacuuming the pool. I think, could I pay someone to do this, and could I be using my time more effectively? Which I know I can with my car business. So, that's a cool book. Also reading The 4-Hour Work Week, which a friend lent to me, by Tim Ferriss. That's really good.
It's a good book. Yeah.
Good book. I don't know quite how much that's going to impact my business because my business is quite hands-on, but very much like Buy Back Your Time. So when I think about my business, it's very practical, but should I be spending my time washing my cars or grooming my cars or picking cars up from compliance or taking them here or there?
Probably not.
Possibly I could reduce the time I'm spending and be outsourcing some of those tasks to other people.
100%. And if that book has served like one purpose, it's just like to get you thinking about that and to question what you're doing, like that's a win. So that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
No worries.
We're going to wrap it up.
We're feeling about done. Yep.
We're going to go for dinner now.
We're going for dinner. Yeah.
We're going to go do it. So
yes.
Thank you for your time.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your sponsorship. I appreciate it.
Gecko on the wall. The viewers can't see, but very cute.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Very, very cool.
Cool.
Okay. No, thank you.
See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Cheers.
I've got a couple questions for you, David, just before we end on the tour episode. What's been one thing over the past 12 months or so that you've really taken on for yourself, like a big learning point?
Probably the value of curiosity. We've talked about that with a few of the other conversations on this episode, but for me, I've always been curious, but I've learned to really lean into that even further and to explore what it means, why things are the way they are. I found like using AI can be really helpful as well in order to get a better understanding of both things and people. So
Sure.
for me, I'm just going to continue with that journey of curiosity. I found like the podcast is a great way to explore and to build that muscle. And so curiosity.
And back to another question that you asked me before, were you ever hesitant at all with jumping on the trip?
It's funny you ask that. I was actually. I was mentally committed. I'd talked about it. I'd hyped it up. I'd be like, yeah, I'm 100% in. But yeah, it was funny because the moment that it came to pay for it, I was like, whoa, is this it, right? Like, is this trip going to be good? Like, yeah, will it be worth the money? Like, shit, this is a commitment. You know, like, it was funny how it's so easy to talk about something, but to actually go and pay the money is something totally different, right?
Yeah.
Talk is so cheap. But yeah, that was the only apprehension.
For sure.
I think it was inevitably going to happen. It was always something that I'd mentally committed to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
You ever been on a trip like this before with a bunch of business lads?
Not so much, no. I've done a couple of small trips. Like I've done a couple of overnight trips with friends or a friend to like do a marathon or something like that. But yeah, not a big group and not international and not like for this long. So definitely a first.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah, it is really different, but it's cool that opportunities to like do breakouts and like spend time with people one-on-one. Personally, I find it just a lot easier to communicate and get to know people on a one-on-one basis rather than the group. So it's been cool sharing the Tuks with different people and just those unplanned, spontaneous opportunities where you can get to know someone a bit better.
Yeah, you don't find that type of tuk opportunity in a place like New Zealand.
Nah, you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a good call to action that like when you do travel with people and do stuff and go on adventures, that's when you can get to know someone, just way better than like in a work environment or like just going for coffee, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I'm going to embrace a bit more of is doing more adventures.
So if you were to start alt or any type of business from the ground up again, what's one thing that you would take on with you that you've learned when starting, or a few things?
I think applying massive action, I think that's the one thing I would do is just whatever you think you're going to need to do in terms of like either cold outreach or selling or talking to people, just multiply that by 10 and then go and do it. I think that a lot of people underestimate the volume and the amount of reps that you need, both from a doing perspective, so like whatever the thing is, right? Like if you're, a swimming instructor, like the amount of people you need to teach and learn and get in the pool, I think that's one component, and then whatever you think you might need to do in terms of acquiring customers, I think you're gonna have to do it just more.
Yeah.
More, faster, better, and I think you just try to learn and like adjust on the fly so that you worry about efficiency. You'll get efficiency, but don't try to over-engineer or get efficiency at the beginning. Just brute force, brute volume. That's my answer for that one. Yeah.
Wicked. What's the most underrated skill in business?
I think being open-minded. I think a lot of people can either get into the mindset of thinking they know it all. I think that's something that I see a little bit of. I think I also see fear come in and like not doing the thing. I think maybe the avoidance of doing those hard things.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before with just leaning into that discomfort and doing the thing that you need to do. So probably in summary, doing the hard thing and knowing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one thing every business owner should stop wasting on?
I think there's a number of ways to approach that question. Like for me, what I've found really helpful is doing a time and energy audit. I've found that that's been a really helpful tool and something I suggest to anyone that's, just anyone actually, is recording what you're doing for every 15 minutes of the day. and you'll really quickly see where your time and energy is going. I say time and energy because I believe that if you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that's maybe productive, but you're getting your energy drained, that's not really good because that'll lead to ineffective time down the road. I think that also when you do that audit, you'll quickly see where you're wasting time and where the inefficiencies are. You'll see high value tasks, you'll see low value tasks, and you'll be just huge. You'll be a lot more knowledgeable on where your time's going. So everyone's so unique, but that will quickly unveil what's happening with your time. All right, so that is a wrap on the 200th episode. Really hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's something a little different. We've done it over a few different recording sessions. What a way to end it. The trip's been unreal. The people have been unreal. I appreciate everyone that's partaken in the podcast episode. It's a lot of fun to have this moment documented and to have this as a reference point, as a time capsule to look back on. What I would say, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. I appreciate your support. The value and the connections from the podcast have been absolutely unreal to date. I'm looking forward to the next 200 episodes and beyond. I just want to say thank you. So I'll see you back in episode 201.